Thanks, Jess and Dev. It is going to be a banger, and I cannot wait to get into this all-Brazil brawl to kickstart the playoffs in the upper bracket as well. Guys, both teams deserving of being in the upper bracket, of course, from their group stage performances. We got to cast both of them. Predominantly, we actually got to cast Liquid, so we've seen a bit more of them. MIBR, though, they are a great team on the rise. 5-2 in the group stage. They are going to take it right up to Liquid in this best of 3.
Well, let's get into it. It's the first best of 3 of the 6 Invitational. It's the only matchup between the same region so far in the upper bracket. LATAM v LATAM. It's a rematch of the Copa Elite 6. And starting out on Chalet, I'm sure it's going to be absolutely hectic.
And our lovely analysts on the desk, Jess, Dev, big congrats to them because they went through this thoroughly, touching on the Copa Elite 6 Grand Final. This is a big replay. Most importantly, 2 of the 3 maps are also going to be replayed. Oregon's out, Chalet's in, and then you've basically got almost like for like there between these two. It's been a bit of time since then. That was back in April, and of course, we've had all of SI, the group stages, so it's a fresh start for both of these two. Liquid did, of course, win that one, but MIBR looking for revenge as we get into Chalet first up. Thatcher Jackal off the board. No surprises there.
Yeah, Thatcher has been highly prevalent, as we saw in the graphic earlier. Pretty much a must pick for a lot of these teams, or at least they believe it to be, with all the utility placed around by the defense. And Jackal is obviously quite prevalent here on Chalet, able to clear out the map quite quickly. Shotgun as well, secondary, can create vert. And Chalet is a map that offers a lot of verticality. Team Liquid follow that up with Valkyrie on the defense. Information gathering will be limited a little bit now, at least a little bit trickier for the defense to scatter that around, and that will mean that teams no longer need to play the IQ, or at least we won't expect them to. MIBR starting on the defense, get the final ban, and then we'll round that off with a Wamai, one of the projectile deniers off the board, so we can expect that Jaeger will probably have a 100% pick rate in this match.
Yeah, for the most part. Would have to agree with you. No real surprises from this ban phase, and touching on Chalet as we get into this match and sort of just continue to set the expectations here. Liquid, they played it twice in the group stage. They won it twice, beating Furia and Team 1, 7-2, 7-5 in those respective matches. But what stands out the most for me is for MIBR guys, they didn't play it, but they only banned it once in 7 matches. So they were more than happy to let it fall through to them if it did so please them. Only banning it once, which was against Oxygen in one of the earlier days. So for MIBR, I don't think that they're too displeased with this. The fact that they weren't banning it means they're more than happy to play Chalet. We'll see how they go. They're on the defense first, and it does mean that they're going to be up against it. Of course, Chalet, by far and away, at least here at 6 Invitational, has been the most attacker-sided map there is in the map pool. So Team Liquid on the attack first. Expect to see them get off to a good start.
And Chalet is a really exciting matchup between these two. It's the only map of the 3 we're going to see here that they did not play against each other on in the Copa Elite 6 Grand Final. Keep in mind that was a 2-1 in favor of Team Liquid. In that matchup, they played Oregon. We're not going to see it in this best of 3. If we go all the way, we'll end up seeing Consulate and Coastline, both of which went in favor of Liquid in that Grand Final. So arguably this is a bit more of a neutral territory just due to the head-to-head nature and the limited data that we have, as these teams haven't played off much recently, especially on this map, of course. They're very excited to see just how strongly Liquid can kick things off. It's just, if it is as attacker-sided as we've seen so far at the 6th Invitational, you would anticipate for them to get an early lead.
Yeah, and not just some sort of 3-0 start, for instance, but to take the half 4-2 at minimum is probably the expectations here for Team Liquid. It is their map pick, of course, and they've had good results on it so far. As we currently see, Philippox, pretty stock standard defense here. Shield on top of Library Stairs. They're holding over and extending out to this Library Stairs position to try and deny a bit of entry into Library, make it a little bit more difficult for Team Liquid. Nesk, though, already into the mezzanine. And they're going to be able to flush out this play at the top of Library Stairs pretty early. Shield gone, almost a head gone as well from Nesk.
This extension, of course, common when holding bar. Maybe not so much for bedroom, but it does waste a little bit of time, and Filippo forced to rotate back towards site. Nesk looking sharp, does narrowly miss that first shot, or at least it was blocked by the deployable shield established here by Raps. Aggressive on the half wall as he looks to protect both K9 door to the east as well as that hallway leading into Piano. Nesk does eventually get the first pick, though. It's Reduct, I believe, off-site on the roam. Not sure exactly where that body has dropped, but either way, it's an opening pick for Liquid, and the mute is off the board.
And Nesk is the player that we're expecting to stand out, along with Palu, the dynamic duo for Team Liquid, second and third in terms of ratings overall for the entirety of the group stage. PSK with a quick double, by the way, and that's probably round over for MIBR. Luke on site, Philippok still rotating down below, and this has been a rough start for the most part for MIBR, but it's a long way to go, of course. It's a best of threes, so you don't really get too overexcited for one round in particular. The best of ones are gone. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint, it's like I like to say, especially once we get into the best of threes. But this should be the opening round to Team Liquid. Pretty methodical in their approach. Haven't really put a foot wrong. But it's only the start of what's going to be, what I feel, a long series between these two. Maybe Philippok can make something happen. That's actually diffuser down on site. Rotate hole, of course, was created by Sexy Cake, moved in. They were looking for that half-wall plant. That does get denied. And the 2 versus 4, it's not impossible with 35 seconds.
Bit of time stalled out here, so it's well played by MIBR, but Philippok shut down. The entry from Nesk is powerful. He got the first pick in the round. He gets an important one there at the end, and his team is able to close it out. Liquid take the first round on Chalet.
Yeah, clean round from Team Liquid. MIBR, as you mentioned, with that hold over towards top of library stairs, don't tend to see it too much for bedroom office. It is more of a bar gaming sort of hold, but they didn't really commit too much to it. I think the problem with that is that you're giving up the mezzanine control too early, and at that point, the top of library stairs player just gets flushed out probably too easy. Doesn't have much of an impact, and in the end, actually didn't waste that much time either of Team Liquid's attack. So MIBR tried something, didn't quite work. They'll go down to kitchen dining, which I'm so far already a little surprised that they haven't gone over to bar gaming at all in the first 2 rounds. It has, in the past, been one of the better defensive sites on Chalet. Kitchen dining, we'll typically see them play above and hold this vert control pretty much in the exact site that we just saw, but they most likely won't have that same library stairs hold that we saw in the last round.
And I've said it every single time so far at the Sixth Invitation, and I'll say it again, the Pog bats are out from Raps. Let's go, Super Key. I love seeing Frost on the board. You can get super creative with your setup, shotgun in hand to create rotates and lines of sight, deployable shield for additional coverage and more utility that the attack needs to deal with, and then those mats themselves can be placed on vault-ins or conspicuously around the map, try and hide them away from the attack. A couple of, I guess, catches here or there, if you want to call them that. A couple of traps successfully laid here or there could definitely make or break a round for the attack.
And Frost, of course, on Chalet, and you mentioned her, she's fun, the Pog mats, yay, but she's actually extremely viable on Chalet. There's so many windows to sort of go into and jump in that, you know, you can just pick and choose really which one you want to sort of lay them out. Library is usually a good decision, especially on the bar window as well, on the games window. Big window there. There's just so many different entryways that you can put those frost mats. And oh, Nesk, yeah, he saw him there. Luke had get spotted. I thought for a second maybe the outline was just the outline and it wasn't actually his head, but Nesk too quick on the trigger and does get the very early pick for Team Liquid. And again, off to a good start here. And now it's just all about cleaning above and getting control of this second floor. Push into master and office, and then you've got vert control, and from there, really, kitchen dining is very open for the taking.
Nesk was one of the top performing players in the group stage of all 18 teams in attendance, and he's off to a strong start already here in map number 1 of this best of 3. A player for sure that MIBR will be looking to punish and shut down throughout this series. If he continues this form, he only gets more and more difficult to deny. PSK will drone above here in Sexy Cake, applying some pressure on the breach. Similar shield setup here again from MIBR. Protected, of course, by the ADS device. Philippok looking to play aggressive here, maybe looking to get that response.
A minute and 25 seconds left in the round. MIBR structurally are doing all right. Mezzanine wall has been opened up, breach, and they can start to try and clear out this utility. The ADS is, of course, denying a lot of these projectiles. Not going to deny that nade from Sexy Cake. Philippok will fall to the ground permanently for this round. Rap's still holding. And holding vigorously behind this bed, looking to find a pick maybe before falling back, if he even has an opportunity to fall back, that is. Liquid know that time really is not too much of an issue here. You clear out this top floor and you generally will win the site, and they can just drop down later in the round. They'll have the numbers as well to trade out. Nesk takes a bit of a shot from below. They do have to be a little careful, of course. Any player still below. Raps still above, though. He does catch one, like I alluded to. It's not job done, though, for Raps. With 40 seconds left, he's still got plenty of Liquid players pushing onto his position.
Raps could make or break this round. With 30 seconds to go, Liquid having some issues clearing out this top floor. And without much time remaining, they'll likely need to ignore this position, instead try to deny an verticality that he can play off. All rotations towards site. Frags go out, Raps and Reduct now remain. Remember, one player above, but Raps in fact has dropped down the hatch. He gets taken down from above. That player chasing him down. Reduct in the 1v2. The AUG in hand. It's a strong gun, but he whiffs the first shot. A couple of seconds to go, forcing Liquid to go for the plant or go for the pick. They swing, but Reduct, he gets the kill. He denies that diffuser from being planted, and MIBR take the round.
Man, what a sloppy finish from Team Liquid in the end. It felt like they were doing everything right from the beginning of that round, but full credit to MIBR, the way they were able to hold above. I mean, you see Nesk here, of course, get that opening pick, 2.5 minutes on the clock, nice and early, 5 versus 4. But this is where they had struggles. After getting Sexy Cake getting Fleet Pox, 5 versus 3, plenty of time on the clock, and you think, right, this is going to go the way of Liquid. This is Chalet, this is what you expect. But MIBR held firm. Most importantly, it was Raps still above, holding his position, holding the correct angles, finds the picks, and it gets MIBR right back into that round. Full credit to MIBR, 1-1, and every round that you can get defensively on Chalet, guys, is a huge win.
Liquid find themselves in a tricky position late in that round. They took a while to clear above, and in the dying seconds, they had to make one of two decisions. Do you plant and leave it in essentially a 1 versus 1 to cover, or do you try and find the pick? Now, on the balance of everything, going for the pick was maybe not the worst decision in the end. It really came down to them being sloppy and finding that frag and allowing that player to eventually run away. So it was well played by Reduct in the dying seconds. Liquid, maybe if they had their time again, would have gone for the plant instead, but MIBR still could have claimed it in that scenario. So a really tough one there for Team Liquid. I don't think that the biggest mistake for them necessarily in that round was actually that final dying seconds. It was what led up to that and what forced them to go for such a shaky or dodgy execute, I guess you could frame it, at the end, where they just didn't have enough time to play exactly how they would have liked.
And curiously right now for MIBR, they're still ignoring this bar game site. So obviously they've got themselves a bit of a setup strategy for Master Office and this sort of area, playing around it more than anything, because you basically play around it when it is the site, and you play around it even when it's kitchen dining. So if you're going to be able to strat, it's almost like a 2-for-1 deal, right, in how to play two sites really for almost just about the same hole for the most part. Team Liquid, they've been fortunate in the first 2 rounds. They've been able to get these quick opening picks. Worked out well for them in the first round. Now, obviously not so well in the second round. MIBR capitalizing later on despite the disadvantage, which is something that would go against the grain on Chalet. Usually 5 versus 3, lots of time on the clock. So MIBR here to play here in the playoffs. First map of this best of 3 for those who have maybe only just tuned in. So we are just getting started. Strap yourselves in. This is going to be a good matchup.
Another library sweep here from Team Liquid, looking to clear out the shield established once again by MIBR. It's Fleet Pox on those stairs, and the shield was taken down quite cleanly. Talk about clean, though. It's a C4 from below to drop Sexy Cake on the hard bridge. If he gets finished off here, that could be a huge detriment to the attack. He's lucky, though, to survive, and Nesk will likely be able to pick him back up.
And of course for MIBR, they don't have the information here. No intel on Sexy Cake being downed, nor the diffuser's position. So unable to capitalize on that. Moringa's just going to push in and has to be careful of this player in the backstore position. Shotgun from that distance, not ideal, but Reduct can swing out. Lots of damage both onto Moringa and Sexy Cake right now. This is not good for Liquid. Now they've lost Nesk as well. Moringa ended up falling, and it's now MIBR who have got a distinct advantage. 5 versus 3 on the defense here on Chalet. Perfect start for MIBR.
One hard breach taken off the board, and Sexy Cake critically low. A single bullet will be enough to down him as well. So he will be ultra vigilant when he tries to open up this breach. Sends out a nade, but he gets caught on library stairs. Thinks about sending out another. So they must have intel that there's a player on this position, or at least believe he is still holding there. Either way, Sexy Cake elects not to go for the wall. The smoke, almost takes him down. He survives. It's a 3-on-3, and with Parley on the board, maybe Team Liquid can send it in and try and frag this one out.
And this is why you don't count out teams like Team Liquid or even MIBR, and why the playoffs here at 6 Invitational, especially these upper bracket games, you got the best really versus the best. Liquid 6-3 in groups, MIBR 5-2 in groups, so they're both winners and have been winning over the last week. And it's going to be head-to-head. Raps getting PSK. Restores that advantage for MIBR, and it's extended. Falls with the second one, and then the third to follow shortly after that. MIBR off to a great start here on Chalet. Defense really need to point that one out, guys, because that's what makes it the telling start here for MIBR. They're doing it on the defense where they're not expected to.
You could see the passion from MIBR after that round. Keep in mind, with this new setup for the playoff stage, the players are essentially staring each other down. They expect to see a bit of emotion, and I'm sure we'll probably see even more of it from the NA region, but Lightem definitely going hard early here in map number 1. It was a good start for MIBR, solid denial on the entry. They knew exactly where Team Liquid were going to be pushing from. It was the same place as last time. They played even more aggressive inside of that library position, on the stairs, down below as well in bar, completely disrupting that attack, and Liquid just could not bounce back.
And you look at the numbers and you have to wonder where it's going wrong for Liquid right now. They're 2 star players, Palu, Nesk, performing well, 4-2, 3-2. They're getting picks the first 2 rounds. They had the opening picks both times. Of course, round 3, the prior one, didn't quite go their way, and it's fine to have the odd round that slips out of your hands. We're not really seeing too much from Moringa at the moment, and that's usually sort of like the third player to go alongside Palu and Nesk, and that's what makes them so dominant. So yet to really get on the board there, and I think once he does, then Liquid will be able to really get back into this one. It's still very early days though, but it is Team Liquid's map pick and MIBR on the defense. So really the perfect start right now for MIBR. They go to bar games, and we'll see how they are going to defend this. Expecting, of course, that shield top of library stairs. This is where you generally will see it, but they are extending over towards this office position, guys. And we have seen this a couple of times before, and sometimes works, sometimes doesn't.
Yeah, and they're continuing and persisting with this alibi pick for Leapox, seemingly believing that operator is useful in this lineup. And many would argue that alibi really isn't that great. The utility that is brought to the table may not be amazing, but that said, the Storm is a really strong primary weapon. You have a deployable shield as well, and even the Prismas, when placed in pretty sneaky positions, can gather a little bit of intel as to where the attack is coming from. So we'll have to see if that persists here for MIBR. So far in the first couple of rounds, it does, as Team Liquid look to clear down below. There's no presence in Garage, but there is a little bit in Dining. A small extension here from MIBR looking to just trickle down that time.
Yeah, and that's the main approach. And I think it's going to work right now just based off Liquid coming in from this northern position. As you can see, really no presence at all from Team Liquid around the site or close to the site. Nothing towards like the big window on site, for instance. It is very much going to be this Solarium push in, sweep across. And because of the way that MIBR have set up, guys, it is going to buy time, like you said.
More drones head out here. Nesk. Dangerous on the entry thus far. An aggressive shield here from MIBR though, over towards Piano, extending into office as well. We often see teams trying to hold the top of library stairs, but MIBR taking this a step further. It has been droned out well though by the attack. They just need to play off the intel that has been obtained.
Well, I would say this shield that we're seeing here, this is usually the shield you would see over at Chimney, over on the mezzanine, because they haven't got one there. So they're playing this more forward position. As you can see, nothing over towards the Chimney, nothing over towards the mezzanine. And it's just about trying to deny Liquid the ability to get to the, say, the library position or the mezzanine position in a quicker manner. You can see already on the clock, 50 seconds left. And Team Liquid are pretty far behind the 8 ball here when it comes to taking this site. They haven't even found a pick yet either. This is going to be messy for Liquid, and we'll see whether or not they can, you know, salvage this really, because the time has already been eaten away.
Office control obtained. Shield though still up top library, and a player is holding that. I believe it's for Leapox in that position on the alibi. Will need to be dislodged, and at this point in the round, he's probably going to play his life. Only 30 seconds remaining. It's tough going for Team Liquid, but they do finally get an opener. Parley with a fantastic nade.
I think Leapox put a little bit too much faith in his shield. Liquid have got the opening pick once again. There's trades. No surprise, because there's not that much time left on the clock. Nesk probably going to have to go over and pick up this diffuser, drop down and go for the plant, because there's not much time. Nitrosalt out from Raps. It doesn't connect. Palu is able to get Lukid. There's a second one now from Nesk. Liquid somehow have been able to emerge victorious on the site. It took them a bit of time in the end, guys, but they got there. Slow and steady wins the race.
Oh, gee, I cast the curse that round, that's for sure. Liquid did not look fantastic in that position. It took him a long time to obtain offense control, but then Parlu hit a great nade on Felipox. They converged up above, traded out on site, which is really, really important, particularly with how crazy the late round can be on Chalet. They played it well. They get the round. They can fulfill themselves with a little bit of confidence that despite maybe their early to mid game being a little bit slower and maybe not as effective as it possibly can be, they know they can back themselves in the last 20 seconds of these rounds.
And I guess the good news for MIBR is they've already got the 2 rounds anyway. So it's almost job done for MIBR, and anything from here in the final 2 rounds of this first half is going to be a bonus. You kind of expected Liquid to get a 4-2 half on their attack on Chalet. And the fact that MIBR's already got those 2 rounds early on, as I said, free sort of few shots here to see if they can at least get a 3-3 half. A 4-2 half would be almost so detrimental for Liquid, I'd probably call the game in favor of MIBR at that point. So Kitchen Dining once again for MIBR, they'll hold above, and it's pretty stock standard, and it's all about time wasting, and that's what Chalet is just pretty much for the most part about recently. It's just been about denying as much time as possible, and then the attacking team sort of just gets onto the site, and it's just trades back and forth. So we'll see how this plays out. It will be the above hold once again for MIBR.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Similar extension here with the shield. Expect Luca to come across with some ADS devices, reinforce that position. Frost as well being brought out here. Double Frostmat, in fact, over towards the piano window, trying to maybe catch an attacker off guard on that vault. Team Liquid, though, they're well trained on this by now, I would think. They know what to expect. The core of this defense is set up quite similar, and again, it'll come down to how proficient they are here in the early to mid round. If they can speed that up and be more effective, I have no doubt they can really pile on here in the last 2 rounds of the attack, because again, their late round is being incredibly strong in the rounds that they have won.
And the thing that's intriguing for me is Team Liquid, more so the first 2 rounds, but their early picks were very early into the game. We saw one at 2.5 minutes, the other one was around 144 or so. So we are seeing these early picks from Liquid, but then they're still quite slow in their approach towards site. Now, if they're winning the rounds, it doesn't really matter, but they did lose a couple, probably due to time wasting a little too much. And well, this is, I guess, the nature of this sort of vertical hold. You hold upstairs for the reason of trying to force them to clear out office and master, and then it's the drop down into dining. MIBR get a bit of a, an opportunity to maybe find a pick or 2, which is why they hold here. Felipox getting a phone call from Mum. He'll just turn that one off, and well, for Team Liquid, they'll get to work on the rest of this mezzanine wall.
He answers that phone call, very polite young man. C4 prep though, behind the half wall. It's already been ripped, so the Team Liquid will not have the sound call. They need to be mindful of this. If he hits it, then he could well take a couple of players down. They are playing quite passively at the moment. This is the Team Liquid way thus far. They're going to drone it out and look to play off that intel as quickly as possible. We can see one drone heading through the breach now. That will spot Felipox, who shuts it down, but he's going to hold the position. Oh, the C4.
I was going to say one thing it does do is it forces him off of that Nitrocell, but he still rips it and throws it and takes out Sexy Cake, and that's the Maverick off the board. Minute left on the clock. Advantage MIBR. Again, Liquid just struggling to deal with this setup from MIBR. It's nothing too uncommon. This is a very common default hold for Kitchen Dining, but Liquid are just struggling to really break it apart, guys.
Looks like they're going to give up on above now and instead go for the horizontal. Keep in mind that the wall to the south, to Nesk's right, has, of course, been electrified by the Kai, making this quite tricky. Instead, he's going to crouch walk forward, and Falls needs to be careful. Nesk catches him off guard. With 30 seconds left, maybe that's the opener here for Team Liquid. Nesk can play off this big time.
And Nesk's push into dining has been fruitful with that early pick. Now makes it a 4 versus 4. Parlu, of course. It's Nesk and Parlu. They'll get the job done for Liquid time and time again. Felipox call on the rotate. There's one back from Redux, but it's too little too late into the round now for MIBR. The above hold was perfect, but down below, Liquid get the job done once again. Redux not going to be able to salvage this one. He gets shut down by Parlu. Liquid take the slight lead 3-2 here. 1 round left in the half.
Clean execute there from Team Liquid. Bit of relief on their faces as they close out that round. They did well. I mean, they got the grenade here above, or at least they thought they did, and then got the C4 in response. And I like the fact that they were willing and able to just say, hey guys, this is not working out. Let's change it up, go for something different, send it in towards site, and back in our fraggers. Nesk walks in, drops falls, and nobody from MIBR was prepped for the refrag. From there, they could just steamroll the momentum. They close out the round. It's a 3-2 scoreline. And if we harp back to the round that Team Liquid lost in the 2v1, there's a real possibility that this scoreline could have been 4-1. So Team Liquid are looking really comfortable at the moment.
And defuse bombs. Attackers have located a bomb.
Definitely the last 2 rounds, Liquid have just ramped it up that little bit. When the going gets tough, that's when they bounce back. They won bar games, they've won kitchen dining, and now we go back to bar games once again here for Team Liquid on the attack. If they can close this half out 4-2, suddenly things just look a lot better. You know, at one point for MIBR, they were up 2-1 in this game, and suddenly at that point you have to start to question, where's Team Liquid at? Well, they've responded in Team Liquid style. 2 round wins in a row, suddenly they got the lead and everything's looking a lot better. As we have a look at these beautiful, beautiful people. We are having a little bit of a rehost here, Guz. And lovely, lovely setup, by the way, can I just say. And it's really good to see them able to play with each other, close to each other. And that's what you love about LANs. And, well, unfortunately, you haven't been to a LAN, Guz, but one day you'll get there and feel the environment and the love in the arena.
Yeah, I haven't been to a LAN, but thankfully I'm probably grateful that I'm not at this one. That big plant in the background would probably be enough to trigger my allergies. So it's probably a good thing that I'm not there.
It's a big one
at the moment. It is a very big plant. And
is that just like one plant, or is it like lots of little plants in there? I'm not exactly, you know,
I don't know. It's a big pot though with lots of plants. Yeah, look, we'd have to call up our resident plant expert.
Where's MIBR's plant?
Maybe they have allergies. Maybe they put the plant on the other side so they don't have... I don't know. Anyway, let's stop this allergy talk because we're absolutely talking rubbish. What we do know so far, though, is that Liquid are looking great on their attacks here on Chalet. Their early to mid-round are a little bit questionable, but their ability to adapt and frag out onto site has just been absolutely phenomenal. Time after time, MIBR getting caught off in the late round, not really having a great response. And I'm sure that during this rehost, that is something that they will be discussing in the final defense of the half.
And I think it's no surprise to see who's fragging out the most for Liquid. It's Nesk and it's Palu. They're the ones sort of making things happen. We saw it actually in the round prior where, you know, Nesk just pushes straight into dining. He gets a nice easy kill. And then suddenly the sites opened up and Liquid have got themselves an avenue to then continue to find these peaks, get the plant down. And it's easy as that, really. Considering they were kind of struggling with the hold above in Master Office, and they've actually struggled with that a couple of times. Even though they've struggled with it, they did get the round win, and that's all you really want. They didn't get it last time out that they played Kitchen Dining, so full credit to MIBR. They played that really well, but not the second time around, where, as you said, really like late in the rounds just didn't quite work out well for them. And speaking of MIBR, the rounds that they probably, the best round they had, which was Master Office, they ended up getting 2 picks early on. So they got those picks early on. That made their late round execution not matter as much. So for MIBR, it's probably just about cleaning up late and winning these trades a little bit more against the likes of Palu and Nesk.
Yeah, been an exciting match so far. And again, if you are just joining, this is the first best of 3 that these teams are playing at the Six Invitational. These two have played a best of 3 against each other recently, though. It was in the Copa Elite 6, basically the South American Grand Final, if you want to simplify the naming. And they played 2 of the 3 maps that we're going to see here, right? So Chalet is actually the only map that they didn't play in that Grand Final. They did play Coastline and Consulate, which we will see if this best of 3 goes the distance. Team Liquid took both of those maps in that grand final. Chalet, an unknown quantity, at least between these two in the head-to-head. Team Liquid are looking quite good at the moment, though.
Yeah, Oregon out from the Copa Elite 6 grand final and Chalet in, and then the rest is basically the same, which is... look, I'm not surprised the fact that Consulate's next and it's picked by MIBR. They obviously had some success with it over in Six Invitational, despite the fact that they did lose to Liquid the last time they played it. I think even April's probably long ago now. That's whatever. That doesn't really matter anymore. Let's focus on what's happening in SI, who's in form where. Liquid 1-1 on Consulate didn't really look that convincing. So I think MIBR certainly favoured on that map, and And Liquid probably favored on this map, and then that's generally how best of threes goes. You know, you're favored on your map picks, and it's just all about whether or not you can steal the map pick away from your opponent, which is what MIBR is trying to do right now on the defense. A solid start, 2 rounds. That's probably job done, par for the course. They've still got 1 round in this first half to see whether or not they can make it 3-3. And if they can do that, guys, if MIBR get this final round of the half, I think they then go favorites on the attack into the second half on Chalet.
Yeah, another aggressive defensive extension here, though, from MIBR. Reinforcements inside of Office, as well as Raps deploying an Electroclaw to make these walls a little bit harder to open. In fact, he'll deploy 2 in total, and that's going to make Liquid's life a little bit more difficult. I expect that MIBR will post someone in that position. Investing all that utility and not playing someone there would seem like a little bit of a waste unless they believe that Team Liquid's time management hasn't been that great and they can play off that, which honestly, it really hasn't been amazing. So we'll have to see if Liquid can speed things up. Yeah.
And the last time we saw this sort of hold, it was successful for MIBR until the last 30 seconds where Liquid just said, all right, this has been fun. It's been a bit slow. Let's just go on a site and kill everyone. And that's pretty much exactly what they did. Palu goes in, gets the first pick, trades ring out back and forth, Liquid come out ahead, and suddenly all that time that was wasted and all that goodwill from MIBR is just evaporated because Liquid win the round. So obviously they have to do it again here. Maybe they look to be slightly more aggressive, find a pick this time, and that will really halt Liquid so that if they can find a pick, not only Liquid have to, of course, waste a lot of time clearing through Master and Office, but then they're down a player so that in the last 30 seconds, when they do push onto site, they're not going to be able to win those trades as easily. So we'll see how it plays out. I don't know if MIBR is going to throw their lives away to find this pick. It'll probably just be, let's do it how we did it last time, but better in the execution.
A near identical drone there from Team Liquid tucked away to spot that player inside of Office. Palu getting aggressive on the window as well. It's a good position that he finds himself in. He can cut back the run, or the rotation back rather. He can cut that off, but he does miss the shot. MIBR still with full HP, and they can play off that type library position.
And what that window position does is it makes it harder to sort of play in that Office position. So obviously Liquid now can fall back to the mezzanine. That's fine. He's not going to be able to cross though over to library stairs. The player at library stairs, vice versa, is not going to be able to cross over to the mezzanine. So this is a really good play from Liquid. Should speed things up a little bit. They'll look to get rid of the shield top of library. And once they get rid of this shield, that position is now really no longer holdable for the defense of MIBR. Still a player inside a library. Thought he was going to drop down. No, holds it for the time being. And you still got the player at the mezzanine position. So again, it's going to be similar to last time, guys. It's going to be that sort of 20-second execution phase, and we'll see who comes out ahead.
Liquid holding the pillar position. Does he win this gunfight? No, it's Palu. He doesn't lose those, and he's going to hunt for a second. He connects that as well. It's a 5v3, and MIBR faltering again at the end of this round. Yeah,
and Liquid just clean with their executions down the stretch. This has been the difference. Reduct will come in late for the flank, but late is the key word there. Needs to literally get the ace. He's not going to be able to stop the diffuser from going down. Does catch the head of Moringa, but PSK with a quick retrade and says, bring it on. Team Liquid, 4-2 in the opening half, and they're pumped.
Pumped indeed. And maybe some would say this is a little bit of an unexpected result, at least when you look at the Brazilian League. In Stage 1, Chalet was leaning a little bit into the defense, in fact, which is a little bit strange, 61%. That wasn't reflected in the Copa Elite 6, where it was what we expected in attacking sided, but nonetheless, this does frame this as a good half for Team Liquid and their explosivity, late round, and their ability to just play off one another so cleanly is really dangerous and really frustrating to play against. If you're MIBR, it feels like you're doing everything right for the majority of the round, and then just at the very end, you keep on falling short, and it's difficult to get yourself in the match. They'll be looking to do the same in response though. Now that they're on the attack, they can see what they're made of.
And that's the key reminder here, and this is why if you're a Liquid fan, it's not all about getting too excited too early. You pretty much just got the job done. That was the expectation. Get 4-2 half on your attack on Chalet. Now this is where we start to see how this match is really going to align moving forward. Does MIBR respond with an attack that they should be having, which is a good, successful one, or does Liquid run away with this map on Chalet with a solid defense? And if they can do that, that's when you start to get really excited as a Liquid fan, if they can find the opening defensive round here, it is going to then set them up to be able to get this win and move on in this best of 3 series. So now we'll start to get some answers to the questions that we've been posing over the last couple of rounds. It's all set up here, though, for MIBR to respond on their attack here on Chalet. We'll see how Liquid can deal with it on the defense.
Well, he's a fun operator if you're a Liquid fan to be watching, but maybe not so much if you're rooting for MIBR. It's Palu on the Oryx. A very niche pick, but a dangerous one nonetheless. He'll have strong rotatability throughout this round. He can pop through the hatches, bust through walls, and he can do a lot of damage with that T5 as well. So definitely keep an eye on Palu in this round. If he can disrupt MIBR's early to mid round, that's going to really just, again, compound that frustration that MIBR are experiencing in this map so far.
Fleetbox with the opening pick. And that takes off Nesk. That takes out the Frost, and that gives MIBR the opening advantage. Might get a second one. Good reaction time from Fleetbox. Double kill. That's both Nesk and Palu off the board from Team Liquid, and this is the start that MIBR needed on their attack. And it's just going swimmingly right now. Early days, still 1 minute and 50 seconds left on the clock, but now it's about... Oh, surely not another one's going to peek him.
Another one.
Surely not. Don't give him a third one. Easy. No. Sexy Cake is able to get away. Barely, though, guys, and they are wounded right now, Team Liquid.
Brave from Sexy Cake. And he's still peeking, trying to find the refrag, but it does go missing. The 3 versus 5 for the leaders on map 1. But they've been strong in the late round. Does that translate to their defense when they're at a deficit? Sexy Cake, if he finds this pick outside the window, he could turn it for his team.
And we've seen already in this match in particular, 5-on-3 advantages get evaporated back down to 3 versus 3. So the round's not over for Liquid, especially on the defense. So there's some speaking. Moringa does get blasted out by Falls. PSK with a Nitrocell, not able to find one back. Needed to do it in that case. And, well, plant will go down. MIBR firmly in position here. Sexy Cake looking to find a pick, not able to do so. And now time is of the essence as well. Does get a bit of information at this piano window. Trade on the site, but that's going to be favoring MIBR because they got the numbers. And now it's just Sexy Cake in a 1 versus 4, and he is eliminated too. Lucid getting that final pick of the round, and MIBR start their attack perfectly.
Good work there from MIBR. It started off with a very swift 2K, no response from Team Liquid, not traded out. And that, in fact, is a trend that we're seeing a lot so far in this match. The opening pick not being traded out by the opposition, and that flows both ways. Brave there from Palu. You often back Palu, in fact, to win that. But holding an angle on the land and field, on the land environment with no ping, as much as I hate that word, is more favorable than swinging in most cases. Not every single occasion, but in most cases. And Fleetbox does well there to convert that pick. It was a good one there for his team. They played off it well in the end and did not give Liquid an opportunity to bounce back in that round, which is really, really important.
Attackers need to locate.
Yeah, certainly so. Good start for MIBR. They get the job done in good fashion. And for Team Liquid, well, I mean, it's just all about making sure Palu and Nesk aren't off the board immediately. They're the big 2-star men. They're the front guys. They're the ones who usually got to find the picks. Failed to do so that round in particular, but you expect them to bounce back pretty quickly. MIBR, though, good start on their attack, and we'll see if they can continue this. That is cheeky.
It is. Very cheeky. Frost getting a lot of play so far in this matchup. We saw it twice in the first half, and we're seeing it being brought out here from Liquid, and we're also seeing the Aruni. Just mentioned this operator in the pre-match, and I'm glad she did. It's an operator that does have a couple of use cases, but teams maybe not playing it as much as we would have anticipated. Those Sawyer Gates can deny projectiles, they inflict damage if an attacker decides to run through them, and they can be reset. They cannot be destroyed, which means that they can be used a couple of times throughout a round, depending on the pacing that the attack decides to employ. So with both the Jaeger and the Aruni, the board compensating for that Wamai ban, maybe MIBR could have similar issues in clearing out some of these positions above.
And Kitchen Dining has become the sort of staple go-to, at least for 6 Invitational. Not quite the most played site on this map, but defensive.
Oh, he got caught! He got caught! He got caught!
That did catch Reduct, and it did work out in the end. It was cheeky for a reason. Lucid is able to get Moringa. And they should be able to get Reduct up here because they've got control of the area, and he was waiting for Sexy Cake to drop down. How about this? They've almost played off of it for MIBR's sake. Philippox is able to get Nesk, and all these trades going back and forth. And we're only at the minute and 50-second mark of the round. Smoke is out. They haven't been able to pick up Reduct just yet. It is a very hot area, though, for both of these two teams contesting it. And it's almost like trying to play who can get Reduct first. Is it going to be MIBR who can pick him up, or Liquid who can flush him?
West main control was good at the start of that round, but unfortunately for MIBR, they're unable to do much with that. The diffuser dropped in that West main position and will need to be picked up here unless MIBR back themselves in to find these picks. Falls is outside trophy window. There's a Sawyer gate, which will mean he needs to clear it or take a little bit of damage, and vaulting in will be precarious. PSK inside of Kitchen has that position locked down. So I'm looking at Philippox in this round to try and go big here and disrupt this defensive setup. It won't be easy, but Sophia, you know, she's a pretty decent fragger, so we'll see what he can get done.
And they've got a lot of time as well. Still a minute left here for MIBR for Falls. If he wants, could have thrown the smoke, could have thrown a drone into it and get rid of that Sawyer gate. There's that Pogmat eliminated by Philippox. Don't want to be stepping into another one of those. And it's always nice to see the old Frost map be successful and catch someone off guard. In this case, unfortunate for Reduct. Falls able to defeat PSK in that 1v1. And now this is going to help out Philippox because they've got information on the final player in Palu. MIBR with a 2-on-1 advantage, and they've got the intel on Palu's position.
He might have the worst gun in the game, but he's one of the best players in the server. So mechanically gifted, and he might be able to hold on here. Falls low on HP, and he's the one covering the planter. Palu narrowly misses, doesn't connect the shot. I thought if he got that one, he could have had an in, but he doesn't in the end, and MIBR will shut down him and win the round.
Oh, and it's a tie now in terms of the score. It's a sigh of relief if you're an MIBR fan because things are just going back to normality here. Reduct, of course, stepping in the Frost mat. You think, what's going to happen this round? It was a round that just had chaos everywhere in the early stages, playing off of basically Reduct stepping into that Frost mat and using him as bait to expect, of course, Liquid to come and finish him off and to get re-control of the area. And honestly, MIBR played that perfectly. Didn't panic, didn't rush over, look for the save. They, of course, played off of it as they should. And now they have a 4-4 scoreline here on Chalet. MIBR playing well. Liquid not too far away from maybe getting the odd round or two on defense. Don't count them out yet as we go over to Bar Gaming.
Hey, more Frost here. We should get a stat going. How many people can PSK catch in those Pog mats? Because I would love that stat. Siege GG, get on it, lads. I would be all for that. And again, outside of that, bringing so much to the team as well. It's an extension above here from Team Liquid. Not as aggressive, though, from their counterparts. Remembering back, MIBR fully reinforced office on the northern wall in towards bedroom and played off that position quite aggressively. Thank you, Easy, our observer, for pointing that out. But instead, it's the more traditional double reinforcement on office facing the hallway with footholds as well to make that a little bit more dangerous, including the lines of sight over into library as well. That said, they are still playing a bit of a soft drone, a player inside of piano, and an extension with footholds established in bathroom, or the hot tub rather, as well here. So MIBR will still need to be precarious, do their due diligence with their droning, and make sure that they do not get caught off guard.
And I know it goes without saying here, but the Frost is just so impactful on Chalet for two reasons that, you know... Oh, what? Never mind what I was about to say. What an opening pick. Good night, Sexy Cake, taken out of the round. Just like that, MIBR have got a man advantage, and they are storming home here on the attack of Chalet. Sexy Cake, now a non-factor, 5-on-4. What a good start to the round for MIBR.
That, of course, means the IGL of Liquid is down, and one of the top performing support players from the LATAM region for the longest time as well. Such a menace, particularly late round, but won't have much of an impact, at least inside of the server with a gun in hand. He can play off some of the information gathering that would be available, of course, and can shot call from the sidelines. But MIBR on the attack, good control established. You can see them droning ahead, just making sure everything is clear. It is, of course, no outlines visible on this top floor. And they'll be able to transition that across in towards office and begin applying pressure at the top of those library stairs pretty quickly here.
Yeah, and so much utility still available for MIBR. They got 7 drones, they got all their smokes, all their flashes, all their nades. Haven't quite cleared out the mezzanine and top of library stairs just yet. Shield over towards chimney. Didn't quite see that get placed actually in the early stage, so I think that might have just come in a little bit late as this exothermic charge is going to be deployed and executed by Falls. They can get sight lines now all the way over to library and top of library stairs. And MIBR just got to make sure they're not too late here with the time. They clear out this shield top of library. Nesk is not going to die to this. And he's able to just still hold middle of library stairs for the time being. And for Liquid, it's so important they don't lose anyone else. Raps down below is going to catch PSK. In fact, that might have been above. Nesk, though, does get one back onto Reduct. It's important that for Liquid, they can win some of these trades to get this man advantage back in control.
Good counter aggression there to bring it to a 3-on-4. Still winnable for Team Liquid, but look at this pressure being applied from above. MIBR really applying the torch at the moment. So many angles have been generated, making it difficult for Team Liquid to sit on site. Keep an eye on the kit, though. It's in the arms of Falls. Nesk drops for Leapox. He's inside of Mud. Can he be shut down? Falls does get an entry on towards side, and he'll try and stick that plan in the 2v2.
Yeah, a bit of an off-hold there from Nesk in Mudroom. I don't think they were expecting it. He does catch one. This plant is now down. Palu, nice swing, catches Raps, and suddenly Liquid in control of this round in the latter stages. Guess who? It's the dynamic duo, Palu and Nesk, salvaging the round for Team Liquid. 5-4, and suddenly things are just heating up here on Chalet.
Oh, Nesk. I gotta say, he looks pretty scary when he gets hyped up. If I was staring him down from the other side of the room, I would not be very comfortable. You can see that passion as they retake the site there. A strong 2v2. Falls. He got the kit down, but he found himself super duper isolated inside of site. It was a strong start, casting our minds back as Felipox did get the opener. But they weren't able to quite manipulate site as much as they would have liked. Time was depleting. Liquid able to play off site, go for the retake, and Nesk, he is absolutely loving it.
Very energetic. That's what you like to see, the emotion sort of pouring out. It is only early on in this best of 3, so maybe got to conserve some of that energy. But hey, I mean, Brazilians, they can go the whole day, that's for sure. Very passionate, very competitive in what is this Brazilian brawl between MIBR and Team Liquid. Liquid with a very slight advantage. MIBR, of course, just prior had won the last 2 rounds on their attack. And they were just starting to really gain that momentum, and Liquid able to just put a halt to that now. Get one back, get one closer to match point. We're on this break point, and we do go back upstairs to Master Office, and we'll see how Liquid can defend this one.
This is the second occasion that Palu will bring out the Oryx. Last time didn't have much of an impact, and part of that was because MIBR shut down those rotations so well, and he wasn't really able to have as much of an impact as he would have wished. Again, keep in mind, Chalet has a lot of hatches that can be used, a lot of soft walls as well that can be punctured through. If he activates in this round and isn't shut down, he could steamroll some momentum. But the question really will be, is MIBR still going to be proficient on that entry?
And this is where both teams will start to see their mental fortitude really tested late in these rounds, late in these matches, when we start to get beyond round 10, not just in Chalet, but even over on Consulate and maybe Coastline if we get to the decider. Falls just gets
this is aggressive
into bathroom, and it is very aggressive. Spotting at that shield, Nessa's going to be able to get the pick, waiting for Moringa to run through, and Falls already in position to catches him off guard completely. 4 versus 4 now, opening picks both ways. Reduct and Moringa off the board.
I love takes from this side of the map. The wall will get open here from Falls. Applying pressure immediately to Team Liquid. We're only slowly approaching the halfway point in this round, and so many lines of sight created, and Team Liquid will be forced into the rotation. Mindful of this Solarium take. It's only been library so far between these two teams. It's been a hot point of contention, particularly on map sweeps, but that early round aggression didn't go punished. Sexy Cake doesn't see the feet there, and probably wise that he didn't progress. Lucid is holding down this swing.
I think MIBR really careful of a player from Team Liquid flanking up from behind those trophy stairs. They don't have flank watch really, so they've got to either set up drones in place or watch it themselves and keep checking back every few seconds. Minute on the clock. Decks the cake over in Piano, and he is starting to get a little aggressive over towards Master Bathroom. They've got info on Luki. He could surely know that he's still in here. Or he's just playing off of this position. And it's now the waiting game, really. I think both teams are just in this stagnant stall phase, waiting for the execution to take place. Nesk has just been taken off the board, though, by Philippox. And that just might be the go button to unleash chaos on the map. Luke swings out, catches Sexy Cake. MIBR have got the player advantage, and they got everything going their way. PSK, the last one left for Liquid. He was slowly making his way over towards these trophy stairs, but too slow in the end. And now, too late in the round to make something happen. MIBR fight back with fire. We are tied 5-5 here on Chalet.
That was hot from MIBR. That Solarium take, that aggression over towards Hot Tub so early in that round was incredible. They established that map control, but then they had the discipline to just pause, wait, and say, hey guys, let's just chill out. Let's make sure everything's clear. And then it was all go from there. We could also see a little bit of banter there between the coaches in the poster and Bodega from MIBR, you know, having a bit of a word, saying, hey boys, what are you doing? Just giving us the site for free. And a response as well there from Team Liquid. And this is the passion that we love to see. LATAM v LATAM in the upper bracket. This is huge.
It certainly is. And I will say, I'm glad you mentioned that this is upper bracket for those who are maybe only just tuning in and not sure, of course, the playoff structure. Both teams in the upper bracket, because of their really good performances in the group stage, they get this second chance. So whoever loses this match, they're not out of 6 Invitational. They will just drop down to the lower bracket, and then they will have to run the gauntlet over the next few days. The winner, of course, then can continue while still holding that lifeline of a second chance. And for the team that, of course, can get all the way to the grand final from the upper bracket, guys, they get that one map advantage. So there is, of course, something to staying in the upper bracket for as long as possible, all the way to the grand final.
Quick tactical time out there for Team Liquid. Trying to stall some of that momentum that has been established here by MIBR. It's been a really good attacking half for them thus far. They've converted 3 out of their 4 rounds in the second half. And I think that was a good opportunity for them to just reset the mental. Things are starting to get a little bit hot there. You can see the emotions starting to pour out a little bit, which is awesome. I mean, we love to see it. It's great to see a bit of emotion here and there, but it needs to be tempered. If it just overwhelms you too much, sometimes we do see teams start to crumble apart a little bit. And it's important that mental is really strong. This is a best of 3. This could go for 3 hours. That's a long time to be playing Siege at full focus. So just got to put one foot in front of the other and take it one step at a time.
His Pogmat's going out again. Similar positions to last time. In fact, exact same position where Redux did get caught. But you're right. This is, you know, it's a best of 3. It's not a best of 1. You don't just throw all your energy into this, you know, crucial hour. You've got yourself, you know, at times between 2 to 3 hours of playing competitively in one hit. You can't really expend all your energy or all of your mental in just this one match.
Oh, God.
But at the same time, you do need to, of course, throw everything you've got into it, especially if you're Liquid here. It's your map pick. You do not want to be going down 0-1, then going over to Consulate, where MIBR have looked so impressive at 6 Invitational so far.
Philippox sees that window popped open. That was Nesk looking for a spawn peek. Didn't connect and fell off it quite quickly, though, and we'll see how MIBR start to slowly set up here with their drones. Nesk has caught one, though. That's not an attacking drone. That is in the hands of the defense. Nesk will be able to position that somewhere sneakily above, and that could really aid Team Liquid in knowing exactly where this attack is coming from, what operators are being brought to the board, and how they can quickly try to adapt to that on the fly.
I didn't quite catch where he's positioned that drone. I think he's still moving it. Yeah, I just saw it moving around still. I think it was heading over towards library. So, yeah. Got a nice little bit of.
Has he got 2?
Oh, he's got 2. He does have 2.
Oh, that's
he's got 1 in library, and he just caught. He's got another one. So 2.
Just got another.
Wait, he's got 3?
I think.
No, I think that's the one that just moved from Piano.
Okay, may have been. We don't have the exact tracker on the overlay to know
Either
exactly
way,
how
this
many
is
there are.
big for Liquid, although this is even bigger for MIBR. Forget drones and all of this nonsense. Raps can just come in, take your head off, and there goes Sexy Cake straight into Master Bedroom, and now can get vision above. How have Liquid just allowed this to happen so quickly, so easily from this Solarian push of MIBR, so focused over towards this library side, but now MIBR can get control above and try and flush these Team Liquid players off site.
Polypox has control of the west main window as well, and that makes rotating difficult for the defense.
Send the drone in.
Still waiting for Palu to have an impact here, maybe on the Oryx. He still hasn't done as much as I would have liked and as much as is possible with this operator, but maybe this could be the round where he could really pop off. Again, MIBR have above control. Liquid may look to retake that as opposed to just hunkering down in sight.
40 seconds left in this round, a very critical round. Whoever wins this one will get match point. Just put that scoreboard pressure on the other team. Liquid still 2 on site inside of dining at the moment, and Moringa's going to be trying to just swat these drones that are flying past him. 3 left for MIBR, but the drone phase is over. It's all about now getting onto site, finding these picks. Rap's still above now, trying to just find any remaining Liquid players still up here, over towards the mezzanine, over towards library. They haven't peeked into piano just yet. He spots Nesk push in. And unfortunately, Nesk is taken out too easily. Trey's now on site. Palu and PSK both getting ones, but PSK down. Only Moringa, Palu still left alive. And that plant is going to be successful from Falls. MIBR, slight advantage now, but Raps gets taken out by Palu. Palu trying to make something happen, but he cannot. MIBR in the clutch. And they are hype. And they've got match point.
MIBR, they are on fire at the moment, and you can just see on their faces they are thrilled with how they are playing so far. Smiles all around, and that passion flowing through them at the moment. Bodega behind, still going absolutely off, going nuts, which is just so exciting to see.
I don't even know what he's yelling at anymore. Look, was that the ceiling?
I don't know either. He was just yelling for the sake of it. He was loving it. You can see him in the background. Can we get a coach? We need the coach mic'd up. I want to hear what he's saying, man.
Oh, he is pumped. But that's what you want from the people, you know, in your corner. You want them hyping you up. You want them to be invested in it just as much as you are, the players. And that is awesome, man. You know, they've got their... I think it's MIBR who have that ritual, right? Where they all huddle together before their matches, and they're very close-knit. So match point MIBR. And suddenly this has just really not gone to script for Team Liquid. This was their map pick. This is the map that they had been performing well on in the group stage. They went 2-0. They beat Furia. They beat Team 1. And now, all of a sudden, MIBR are about to steal their map pick in this best of 3. We go to Consulate next, and MIBR have been great there, whereas Liquid have been shaky. Despite, you know, past matchups over in the Cobra Elite 6 Grand Final, where, of course, Liquid did, in fact, beat MIBR on Consulate. That's in the past. We're all about the present. We're all about 6 Invitational. And right now, MIBR are looking really solid.
There is still a window of opportunity for Team Liquid to bounce back here. Just one defensive win will head this match to overtime. It's an extension above here. 2 shields, one at the top of library stairs and the other at pillar. Now, we saw Team Liquid fall off that position quite quickly last time. At least Nesk did on library stairs, but then PSK at the chimney stayed around for a little bit too long and was punished by MIBR. They went for the map sweep last time, and so far their repels would suggest they will do the same. Their droning in the early round has been strong, and if they play off it once again, map controls should be there swiftly.
And I've got to say as well, right now, MIBR's attacks have been a bit cleaner than Team Liquid's attacks as well. We expected Liquid to do well on the offense here on Chalet, despite LATAM, you know, being a little bit unconventional with results on Chalet, maybe being a bit more defender-sided over in the LATAM region. Globally, it is attacker-sided, and we've seen that as well here at 6 Invitational, and we're actually seeing it in this matchup as well. So far, both defenses have not really been able to hold too strongly. So it's all now on the shoulders of MIBR to close this one out, avoid overtime, and avoid allowing Liquid back into this matchup, which, of course, is Liquid's map pick. Bar games, for this potential final round, at least the final round of this regulation. There goes the shield, minute and a half. So far, decent timing from MIBR. They're right on track here. This is really good.
Ignite from MIBR. Team Liquid, we could see earlier, dedicating to a two-man roam. So they'll need to watch their backs. No dedicated flank watch has been picked here. Nomad and Gridlock, neither have been selected. So they'll be relying on drones and communication to be mindful of that possibility. Dockerby as well might be able to provide a little bit of pressure to the roamers as well. But now they're trying to clear this player on pillar. Raps finds one though. They need to clear PSK, but PSK holds this time. He gets the first with the 9mm, and he's looking for a second.
I'm surprised maybe they peeked this. The shield over towards Chimney hasn't been cleared, so he's able to still hold his position at the mezzanine. Oh, nice shot for PSK. Good night, Lucan. You can't just be peeking like that. They just don't have maybe the utility left to be able to get rid of this shield. This is a mistake, but it's a good swing from Balls. Able to clean up PSK. 3 versus 3, 30 seconds left in the round. MIBR still got a solid opportunity. Sexy Cake is down, not quite out just yet. Not sure of his actual position, but it doesn't look like he is going to be able to be revived. So it's down to Palu and Moringa to salvage this for Team Liquid. They're down 2 versus 3, as finally Sexy Cake will bleed out. Those gas canisters will be deployed from Moringa. Final 10 seconds left in the round though, and the pressure is mounting right now. Palu expecting it from behind and in front. He gets one, but he couldn't get the second. The drop down, both from the same hatch though. Surely Moringa's got the advantage left here. One's down, one's still up, and Philippe Pox. No. It's all about the time, and Liquid do hold on. I thought maybe he actually got the kill. Didn't happen. Overtime we go. Liquid, by the skin of their teeth, guys, in a very messy finish to that round.
Big from Palu at the end. He does just enough for his team to hold on. Yes, he got taken down, but he melted one. Narrowly melted, got close to melting a second there on the hatch. Big in the late round. PSK in the early round, though. Huge stance behind this shield. It was a good response from Falls in the end, but unfortunately unable to convert it. The hatch drop, risky from MIBR. It goes punished, like I mentioned, by Palu. And now we're on match point. Liquid starting out on the defense, which has been the unfavored side thus far in regulation.
So overtime we go between Liquid and MIBR, and I wouldn't have expected any difference between these two teams to kickstart the 6 Invitational playoffs. And Brazil, of course, coming into this event, many expected them and LATAM to be the superior region, and honestly, they've got what, 4 teams in the upper bracket, dominated their groups. Well, without finishing first, dominated their groups by the numbers of LATAM teams that have made it into the upper bracket, and we're seeing both of these two teams playing some incredible Siege right now. Might look messy at times, but when you got good teams versus good teams, sometimes that does happen, guys. You know, the good teams generally will put off the other teams from playing the best level of Siege. Those POG mats go out once again. It has been a huge talking point here on Chalet from both teams, Liquid and MIBR, utilizing those. PSK on the frost this time as Liquid on the defense.
On the topic of talking points, the supports here for Team Liquid struggling to find themselves in this match thus far. Sexy Cake yet to find a pick. Moringa as well, only finding one. Now, I don't know if the rehost has skewed those numbers too much, but despite being support players, both of them can definitely pop off in the right circumstances. And maybe that is a testament to how strong MIBR's late round has been for the most part, where those defenders on site aren't able to really be put in a position where they're able to find picks and clutch out rounds. So we'll keep an eye on them for the next 2 or 3 rounds. Meanwhile, though, MIBR with strong map control early and a Banshee cleared. Luca jumps straight away onto a drone. They should know that this side of the map is clear. Their confidence would suggest that they do. And now the players in Library and Pillar will be put under quite a bit of pressure.
It's an interesting frost map placed to the side of Chimney. It has to be to stop the eventual jump down. So once MIBR get control of the mezzanine, they'll look to obviously want to jump down, pushing onto site. And if they just swing that a little too quickly and look to vault it, well, then obviously there's the POG mat just waiting for them. So we'll see later on if that does get shown to be successful. the key thing, of course, more than anything there for PSK is to eliminate those drones from even spotting it so that it does stay hidden. Not only that, but you tend to play that position anyway, the shield over towards the chimney. So pretty standard
Raps
hold from
again.
Team Liquid. PSK, though, taken out. Raps up for the challenge. Falls will take out Nesk. 2 big heavy hitters off the board for Team Liquid.
That's all the control above now forfeited by Team Liquid. I thought that maybe Nesk could go huge in this round, tucked away inside of Library, but he was just completely denied of that opportunity. And now the rest of the team left inside under the pump. Moringa and Sexy Cake. 1 kill between those two. And Palu, 6 so far, will need to go huge in this round. Felipox taken down by that vertical. It's Moringa with the SMG to close that one out. And with 30 seconds to go, Falls with the diffuser in hand will need to try and clean up this execute. MIBR have been struggling with these bar plants, but this time they cannot falter.
The last time we saw this wasn't obviously too long ago. It was that match point. MIBR ran out of time and Liquid held on. Palu and Sexy Cake just picked up the quick double, and MIBR now down a player 3 versus 2, and Raps is actually on the floor. It's only Lucan. He gets Moringa, but he's not going to get any more. Liquid have now got overtime match point when they were staring down the barrel of match point to MIBR. And now they're giving it back to them as well, verbally, in person, and you love to see it. Both teams literally back and forth in game and out of game.
Solid round there from Team Liquid as we look back on the replay. Palu on the roam late round, able to find a pick, and then the remaining attackers scrambled to try and do something there. But the critical thing really was that these bar plants are just not working out for MIBR. Every single time the kit's being dropped, we saw it dropped in that occasion underneath the hatch, and from that position, Team Liquid able to just capitulate onto their opponents. Just incredible work in the end there from Team Liquid. They make a big statement, and now they are on the favored side of the attack, looking to close this one out.
Well, MIBR were looking to close it out not too long ago. They failed in their approach. I wouldn't put it past MIBR here defensively. And this is maybe where that sort of defensive style from the LATAM region may ring true. We're starting to see a few more defensive wins here on Chalet. MIBR now go over to the defense. Kitchen Dining has been very fruitful for teams at 6 Invitational, about like a 65% defensive win rate at 6 Invitational so far. So holding above for MIBR, but I think most importantly, they just have to deny Liquid getting these opening picks. But I say that, and honestly, I start to question if it really matters. Looking at the opening picks in the last couple of rounds, guys, 5 of the last 6 have been unsuccessful in translating into round wins. So it obviously hasn't been too impactful. It helps, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, indeed. What can Team Liquid do in this round? Again, you've just joined us. Team Liquid have struggled a little bit in the early to mid game. It's been a little bit slower than they probably would have liked, but their late game, their late round has just been absolutely phenomenal. At least it wasn't regulation on their attacks. It's been a little bit, since they have attacked though, a big break between that first half and now overtime. But expect that trend to continue. MIBR need to be mindful of that. I'm sure they are. And they just need to hold on a little bit stronger late round here. Good map control established already by Team Liquid. They have 2 hard breaches that they can rely on. And in fact, that wall already popped open here. MIBR holding firm again at the half wall. It's Felipox with a shield and a nitro cell to play off. Team Liquid looking to clear that position as Parley probes below.
Liquid have already attacked Kitchen Dining twice over in the first half. They were 1-1 on that. We'll see whether or not they can make it 2-1 and win out this first match, which of course is their map pick. Nice shot from Felipox. Any little bit of damage that he can get, and the longer that he can stay at this half-wall position, it's a big win for MIBR. It's all about denying time. That shield does get taken down. Nitro Cell gets thrown back, but it's not going to be able to find a player of Team Liquid. That's a mini win for Liquid. Felipox is going to find it very difficult to hold his position. He may end up getting pinched as well. If Liquid can flush him and maybe get this kill before he's able to get back, never mind. He does get out. Nade a little slow to be released. Felipox is out with his life intact. There's a minute left on the clock. You can almost consider that a bit of a stalemate in the end, but Liquid are pretty happy that they cleared that position. They can now move into office.
Still pressure being applied here on the top floor by MIBR. 3 players on the extension. This could go one of 2 ways. Either Team Liquid falter or MIBR struggle to hold on to this advantage, and it might go the way of Liquid. It's Palu to get the first. Still 2 players up above, and Palu's looking to try and get another. He hits the shoulder of Lucid. His position now known, but can Palu find the kill? The answer is no. Lucid can rotate back down as Liquid finally slowly get control. Still a player in Solarium, though, to deal with.
20 seconds left. PSK now pushing in, and suddenly this is where Liquid, despite their man advantage, are going to have to just pick up the pace. It's all about that plant, of course. They need to make sure he is protected. Sexy Cake now on site, down below, sticking this plant. If he gets it off, I think they'll probably win the round, but that's 2 dead immediately. Nest, PSK, gone. They've been eliminated. One of them was even a team kill. In fact, MIBR have got a slight man advantage, a pretty big one. Sexy Cake, Palu, this is the man you want alive, but Lucid pushes in. 3 versus 1 left. It's Sexy Cake, the man who got the plant down, versus Lucid for Leapox. Reduct. Sexy Cake down below, but he hasn't really got anything that's going to be able to deny this other than his gun. And if he gets flushed out below, if he gets pinched, if they start coming for him, hunting him down in wine, he will not be able to stop them. We will go to a 15th round. MIBR, late in the stretch, improve their execution and win the round.
MIBR finally showing up in the late round. They did just enough inside of Solarium to disrupt that timer, and then as the plant goes down, they found multiple picks. There was a team kill as well there on the side of Team Liquid, and despite Sexy Cake having a powerful position down below, the transition from MIBR to shut him down as well was absolutely exquisite. PSK was never going to win that fight there on the swing. They still had the default cam up, a player inside of Solarium, another on the stairs as well. Super, super duper teamwork there from MIBR. They're actually going to take attack time out here just to chill out, relax, and really have an in-depth discussion on how they want to close this one out.
Yeah, and I think it's probably needed for both teams, right? This is an MIBR tactical timeout, but I think Liquid's probably happy to have a quick little chat as well going into this final round. And you talk about best of 3s and best of 1s and whatnot. Well, this just comes down to one final round. It's as simple as that. Team Liquid will be on the defense and MIBR will be on the attack. It looks like it's going to be kitchen dining, so we will see sort of a repeat of the last round that we just saw, but just flipping the sides around. And for MIBR, this is a really big opportunity. They already had 1 match point, guys. They let that one falter. They allowed Liquid back into the game. Liquid then actually took that, gained a bit of momentum, got their own overtime match point. They failed at that one too. So right now, both teams have not been able to capitalize when they've been in the lead. Neither of them are technically in the lead anymore. Someone has to win this time. We can't have a draw. Someone's got to win. Both teams have struggled to win, but someone's got to do it now.
No unlimited overtime outside of the grand final at the 6 Invitationals. So the next round will declare the winner of Chalet, map number 1, as you can see at the top of your screen. Still Consulate and potentially Coastline to be played between these 2. And based on previous form, some may say that this is an MIBR must-win map, Chalet that is, because both Consulate and Coastline were won by Liquid at the Copa Elite 6. Now, again, that form is not going to translate 1-to-1, but it does bode well for Team Liquid, and maybe not so much for MIBR. Now, the trend in regulation, of course, Jake, was attack, 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 attack. Defense, though, has been the talk of the street in overtime, and Team Liquid will be looking to lean into that a little bit. Now, a lot of information gathering brought here from Team Liquid to have the Maestro, the Echo, and the Mozzie, keeping in mind that Nesk on a couple of occasions has been able to catch a lot of drones. They have counter intel as well in the hands of Moringa on the mute. And MIBR will need to be very, very mindful of that, as it could slow down a lot of their progression here.
And just sort of touching on that, because you mentioned the defense and that starting to sort of take shape here. A large reason for that pretty much has been kitchen dining. In fact, pretty much the main reason. And as we get to overtime, of course, teams are going to want to choose on their defensive side, kitchen dining if possible. So this is going to be a simple case of the, obviously for kitchen dining, 20 times it was played in the group stage for a 65% defensive win rate. So no surprise here that Liquid are going to be going over to kitchen dining. Now, they played bar gaming before and they won that one, of course, so they get the opportunity to close it out here on kitchen dining. Does that mean they're favorites? Honestly, I don't even know anymore, guys. but maybe slightly. MIBR, though, have improved their late round execution. We were talking about that very early on. That was where they were kind of faltering. They've improved on that for Liquid. Their early games on their attack, still letting them down, but on the defense, they've been a bit better on the early game. So this is it. We go to a 15th round for a reason. Both teams have been playing well. Both teams are feeling it. Both teams have been hyped from their coaches to their players. And now we see who walks away with this map.
Good work there from Lakidra, taking down one of those Maestro Evilizers early into the round. So it must have been droned out there, I can only assume, there by MIBR early on. And that's one less piece of utility that the defense has to deny plants and have information in towards site in the late round. Again, keep in mind, Yokai drones will likely still be on the board, and there may well still be another Evili in play as well. So MIBR need to be mindful of that as well, considering that IQ has not been brought. Extension above here, still established by Team Liquid on that library side of the map, but all the pressure from the attack is over towards the north. With the Buck and the Sledge on the board, they can establish vert in towards the site, and players deep in towards Dining will need to try and hold on for dear life as the attack now has control of Trophy.
Yeah, an intriguing development as well from Team Liquid to just pretty much not give up control above, but definitely not committing as much to the above hold that we tend to see from Kitchen Dining. And we'll see whether or not it backfires. What this allows for MIBR is they can get into side a little earlier, get this plant down. Luke now with the opening pick trades though. Maroon gets able to get one back. Nesk is getting lit up. Now the Echo drone is, or the Yokai drone is of course in play. Luke and Raps are actually getting Nesk. There's not much time left on the clock here, but MIBR just finding all of the picks needed to win not just the round, but the map as a whole. Sexy Cake at a 1 versus 4. Diffuse it down. And surely from here, MIBR will come out on top, and they certainly will. They are made in Brazil. They are here to perform in the playoffs, and they kick-started off by taking out Team Liquid's map pick.
Bodega says a friendly GG across the room, and MIBR will be thrilled with that result. It was all Team Liquid in the first half, but they bring it back. A strong showing in the attack, despite so much information gathering there on the side of the defense. It's a great start for MIBR, and Liquid will not be thrilled with how this best of 3 has started off.
What a fascinating match with so much unraveling between both teams, Liquid, MIBR stealing that map pick away from Liquid. They are 1 up in the series. And we're going to throw it over to our lovely analyst desk with Jess and Dev.
Thank you very much, Xenox. What a match to open up the 6 Invitational B stream. MIBR, they certainly kept pace with Team Liquid to come back from a 4-2. Jess, that was certainly something to behold.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was Xenox who might have pointed it out throughout the cast as well, is that unfortunately for the Latin American region, not that we have a huge sample data to go off of, but they had shown throughout the regular season that they're a little bit more defensive sided in that particular Brazilian league. You're coming into 6 Invitational and things have just turned on its head. All of a sudden, these teams are very attacking sided. The defense not able to capitalize on a couple of those late round mistakes. I think Team Liquid as a whole got a lot further on their attack than they should have. They left things very, very late, multiple rounds in a row. Look at that last round though. Look what Luca was able to achieve. I mean, honestly, being able to get rid of both Evil Eyes, the verticality, the ability to smoke off the rotates so they didn't get shot when they jumped in through the window. MIBR played that last round on attack perfectly, and I think as a result, the best team won that map, even though it went the full 15 rounds.
Yeah, like you're saying, it was a lot of very, very late executes from both teams, but especially from Liquid. A lot of really impactful opening engagements as well. MIBR did lead the way when it came to opening picks at 8 to Liquid's 7. But overall, I'm impressed by both of these teams. I definitely came into this, before we saw the map veto, thinking that MIBR would be favored just because they've been so strong during the group stage and Liquid have shown some weaknesses. But when we saw those maps and we started to look into the greater context of the history these teams have performed, I really started to flip to being a Liquid fanboy. And look at that hype from Nesk. Don't you just love it? The energy both of these teams bring. The casters reference Bodega a lot, and of course Silence for Liquid. It was just such an entertaining showing, just the pure character that these guys are exuding, the passion.
Yeah, I think it started with MIBR, and then Liquid felt the heat from across the room, and then they sent it back in full force. So I'm sure the energy in that room was palpable. You probably could have swam through it. It was that thick throughout that particular match. You couldn't have made that particular map any closer than it was. That is a beautiful start to this Latin American derby here. And what is a big part of this head-to-head here is that whilst statistically a lot of teams win the other team's map pick, that is not unheard of by any means. It is not rare, and depending on the leagues, best of threes, best of fives, you will not find it very uncommon that a team will win the other team's map pick. So here, going into the second map, I don't particularly think that it's too bad that they've lost their map pick here, but I do think it's a little bit of a warning sign.
Well, let's start talking about Consulate then, because of course Liquid were the ones who chose Chalet. Like you said, they lost it. They do have to make a bounce back here on MIBR's map pick, especially with that passion and that form that MIBR have just exhibited. They are red hot, fired up, ready to go. What are you thinking for Consulate? Because we've seen, as we said in the pre-show, some good results from Liquid on this very map.
Yeah, I mean, if you're referencing Team Liquid, they've beaten FaZe, they've beaten MIBR multiple times on it, INTZ. I mean, you know what? The surprising loss for me was losing against Cyclops. That's actually the one that really sits in my mind because it's a very recent one, as you guys will know. Unfortunately, Cyclops went home in their particular group, but they did manage to lose to Cyclops on Consulate. Now, does it come down to the fact that Cyclops came into the Six Invitational and showed enormous aggression that I have almost never seen at the World Championships before? Or does this come down to Team Liquid maybe underestimating their opponent, which we did think happened with a couple of the Latin American and Asia Pacific teams in multiple different matchups there? I don't know where I sit on that one, but what I can say is a loss to CAG, it rings bells, it rings weakness that Team Liquid clearly has recently on this map, but I want to get, a little bit into the recency of it. So that's where I'm sort of sitting here, James.
Well, as we can see, Team Liquid, they are the ones who have the onus to step up right here. As you can see, the map veto reiterated. We've just had Chalet time for Consulate, MIBR's map pick. And because it was MIBR who selected the map, Liquid got to choose which side to start on. They have chosen to start on attack, Jess. Now, we've just seen quite a few attacks from them. And unfortunately, Liquid's teamed a little bit slow. Do you think that they're going to have the momentum needed to carry it on to Consulate?
Look, if you look at the stats on Consulate for Team Liquid, and we have a pretty good sample pool to go off of here, they are slightly more attacking sided on Consulate than they are defensive sided. So it is not a surprise that they sit down and go, look, out of like the 50 rounds that we've played on like attack, we've actually won more of them than we have our defensive rounds. So let's try and start on a good foot here because it can put MIBR on the back foot. But we saw how that went in the first half of Chalet. You could be on the up and up, you get into the second half and things start to slip away from you. So I don't think it matters which side either of these teams start. I think they've still got a lot of energy and momentum behind them. But if you're wondering why they've chosen to start on attack, well, only ever so slightly are they our attacking favored team. And given what happened on Chalet with things being a little bit turned on their head, I'm not surprised they want to carry on that attacking prowess.
Yeah, and I find it really interesting looking at these players. As we can see, this is a very short break that they get between these two games. You can see how much they are talking. Nesk, second from the left, is being very, very vocal. He's been on this team for just about forever. And a lot of conversation going on. Nesk individually had quite a strong performance, some good opening picks. A player I hate to highlight, but I'm going to anyway, is Sexy Cake. Second from the right there. He'd had a bit of a struggle. He was often the opening pick in a lot of those rounds. And yes, sometimes that was him playing defense and overextending a little bit on these aggressive roles and just not winning his ones. But also we saw sometimes him getting picked by, for example, a C4 when he was playing the Maverick. And I feel like someone like Sexy Kate, you've got to really be careful. He has a lot of a leadership position on this team as well. That pressure doesn't get to him, because it's one thing to be feeling like you're letting your team down if you're not individually performing. But when you have such a multi-layered role on the team, surely that starts to play into your mentality.
Absolutely, and I think it's important for the viewers out there, because you're speaking about a particular player from Team Liquid, how about I pull up the full stats from the Six Invitational group stages and tell you from both of these teams, I mean, it's not going to be a surprise, but tell you who's been stepping up for the most part. Team Liquid, I mean, who else? Take a guess. I mean, if it's not Nest, yeah, thank you very much. Obviously, he's sitting on a 1.24, nice, pretty little number there, had a really good cost as well. So he was sitting nice and pretty at the top there, only 0.01 above Nest. So they were pretty much holding hands at the top of the leaderboard for their particular team. You go down to MIBR, and I mean, I don't want to say it's a surprise, but sometimes you have your flex support player step up and really keep the rating going. And this was down to things like KD and cost, which is surprising for a flex support player to sit quite high on the KD. And that was Philippox, sitting on the 1.13, the highest rated in his team. And then Lucid follows, one of the more fragging operators from the team there. I do think it can be of a concern if your predominant planter and your predominant support flex player is the one that is sitting at the top, especially with the KD and the differential and your cost and KPR. That's a little bit troublesome. So it's telling me that people like Raps, for example, who've been maining the Ashe, maining the Melusi, have been having a negative KD impact, haven't been able to fulfill their role as necessary.
Yeah, well, let's dive deeper into MIBR now. Of course, this is their map pick. This is Consulate, and they've just come off on the back of that first win. They looked pretty fired up. Are we expecting them to come out strong? It is, of course, their defense that they will start on. That was dictated by Liquid, and I like the fact that they're huddling in. They look pretty relaxed, all things considered.
You have to. When you get into a best of whatever series, best of 3, best of 5, you know it is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You can't just run at it with all of your pace in the first map. And unfortunately, because it went quite the distance and went as far as it can go, max OT, they've already undertaken a mini marathon in what, is one battle of a big war here for them. That's why I'm a little bit worried. Something I didn't really want to reference. You don't want to reference Sexy Cakes. I didn't want to reference Falls and his inability to place frost mats. Now, I know it's such a poignant thing for me to pick up, but there was a round where he placed 1 frost mat and had 2 in his pocket. Now, I don't want to say that that is a big, red flag to saying that, Falls, who is sitting at the bottom rated at the moment throughout group stages, is not pulling his weight. But I mean, if you're going to take Frost, you're going to have the Frost mats for area denial. You're going to have them as an opportunity to catch players, which you did throughout that map. Please at least place your gadgets. Please at least use them. We had a problem with Falls on another map where he played Goyo and didn't place his prox mines. That was on Clubhouse. All of this is sticking in my mind because there are players on the side of MIBR that are making mistakes and they're still managing to win anyway. So I'm wondering whether or not those mistakes being polished up would make them a formidable team beyond what they've already been able to achieve. And I think it's a compliment inside of a bit of a criticism, which I'm putting here for MIBR, because I do think being able to do so much and then still make so many mistakes and still get results is quite an impressive feat.
Yeah, for sure. Well, MIBR have just taken Liquid's map, and they are on track for the revenge from the Copa Elite 6. But of course, last time these teams played each other, Liquid won Consulate and they won Coastline. Those are our 2 remaining maps. Let's jump straight back in for map number 2.
Yes, thank you very much, Dev and Jess, for that beautiful breakdown of what was a very tantalizing match to kickstart not only this matchup, Guz, but also the 6 Invitational playoffs here over on the B stream. Consulate coming up very, very shortly. Not too far away from getting into it. Teams have had their breaks, and they should be pretty much ready to go.
Yep, Consulate is MIBR's map pick, so expecting big things from this. Will they be able to close out the series, though? That's a big looming question for them. The last time that MIBR tackled this map in the Copa Elite 6 against Liquid, they lost. So they're looking for redemption and looking to progress deeper into the upper bracket.
Well, from this point on, MIBR will have an opportunity to move forward in the upper bracket. Team Liquid, they now have to reverse sweep. They have to win this, and they have to win the decider map, which of course is Coastline. So they've got a long road ahead of them. And for Team Liquid as well, coming into Consulate 1-1. If we cast our minds back to the group stage, Guz, there was that massive upset. I believe it was day 3 where they lost to Cyclops, and that sort of kickstarted the entire APAC on Consulate meme. And since then, of course, Liquid have been able to bounce back, but at the time that was a devastating loss on Consulate. They come over here, Thatcher Jackal off the board, no real surprises, probably Valk to go, and yeah, there's the third one, and I'll let you have a guess on what's going to be fourth.
Maybe Frost. That would be a meme pick, though. Difficult to say. Maybe an information gatherer or denier. That would be the most likely. But no, they'll back up the projectile denier that we saw on map number 1. So that's the one my taking down, making positions like yellow stairs, for example, really difficult to hold if you're on the side of the defense. So MIBR might find this a little bit tough starting out and attempting to stronghold some of those positions. As for the other bands, Thatcher, extremely common. We're seeing that all the time here at SI. Jackal, maybe a target band there from Liquid. MIBR playing at 29% of their rounds thus far at SI, so definitely a pick that they're willing to bring out. Valk means that we don't need to see an IQ on the board, which is always great. But one thing that is interesting is that the Nomad has been let through. Now, Nomad is a pretty prevalent ban here on Consulate just due to the notoriety of runouts and how powerful, and jump outs as well, just how powerful those can be. So expect these teams to likely pounce at that opportunity now.
And for Consulate, the map itself so far in the Six Invitational group stage, it was one of the more defender-sided maps. 11 times the map was played, 126 rounds overall for 61% defensive win rate. Now, that's pretty significant for the most part. When you're looking at the amount of times that it's been played, that's obviously, you can have a statistic, but if it was only played 2 times, it doesn't really matter. So a lot of rounds on the board, and well, we are seeing Garage Cafeteria first up, which actually is the most played site on Consulate. No real surprise there. Liquid are going to be attacking first. MIBR on the defense as they look to close out this series on their map pick now after winning Chalet 7-8. And I'm going to say early days, guys, but I would not be surprised if this also goes to overtime, in fact, and then this is just probably what you would expect from these two teams. They're pretty evenly matched.
Pretty cool little setup here from MIBR, the extension up into bathroom above the objective, footholes into piano and yellow stairs. There's also a shield facing that direction, making it difficult for Team Liquid to clear this position out, especially with 3 ADS devices being utilized to fortify that position. So we'll have to wait and see if Team Liquid try to take above and just how difficult that is going to be in combination with the likes of Redux on the top floor. I have no doubt this will be a tricky prospect for the attack.
And if we cast our minds to the Copa Elite 6 Grand Final that was back in April, Team Liquid, they lost the first map in that best of 3. And what did they do? They won the next 2. They ended up winning it 2-1. So MIBR, of course, most likely will have that somewhere deep in the back of their minds, looking for revenge and saying, okay, this time, let's not let that happen again. Because like what we just saw in Chalet, that Oregon match in that grand final, that went to 7-8. MIBR won that. So far, it's almost just playing out as a complete replay. Liquid was then able to go and win Consulate and Coastline pretty comfortably. We'll see whether or not history repeats itself.
A slow start to this round for Liquid. They're droning out above and trying to make sure that they dot their I's, cross their T's, and make sure they don't get taken down cheaply. I'd love to see where Reduct is. Is he still inside of admin? I believe he is. Like, this is a lot of pressure being applied here, a lot of time being wasted. No damage inflicted yet. The damage, though, has been inflicted on the scoreboard, on the timer. Reduct pounces at an opportunity here, but narrowly misses his window. Surely he gets shut down. The drone comes through, but he still finds a pick. No trade on the window, but Moringa does eventually do so from that window position. 2 minutes down, 1 player cleared. That's the story for Liquid thus far.
Yeah, losing Nesk, though, is a big deal. Has been a standout alongside Palu, not just in this best of 3 series over in Chalet, but also, of course, in the group stage. Raps has been droned out. Hasn't really moved the muscle, though. Expecting the follow-up. Well played from Raps. Just nerves of steel to hold that position. And Palu just gets taken out. There goes the dynamic duo off the board for Team Liquid. MIBR are here to play on Consulate. They're not going to want to repeat at the Copa Elite 6. And a good solid start here with this hold.
15 seconds left. I think Liquid will be forced for a back push. The diffuser over towards White Stairs going to make this very, 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 very tricky. 10 seconds left now. Moringa makes his way down. Surely he gets shut down. There's a player to his left, but it's the player to the right to get the kill. PSK shut down as well. Piano control obtained too late here by Team Liquid, and that is a very, very solid start for MIBR.
Yeah, and
what is he saying? Someone in chat translate what he's saying, please. We would love to know.
Oh, The passion, though, absolutely overflowing through Bodega and just letting Team Liquid know. And it all starts with Redux getting busy over towards admin. Should have probably gotten the player on the rappel as well, just barely missing, but then swings and gets Nesk from behind. Full credit to Raps for holding that position. You get droned out, instinctively you think, all right, I've got to fall back here, but Holds knows there's a player there ready to follow in the drone. That was Parlo. He gets eliminated, and what a great start from MIBR, backing up their performance on Chalet here with the opening round.
Let's see how far that momentum can carry MIBR though. Let's see just how powerful that passion can be. A lot of creativity there on the defensive setup there, particularly in Bathroom there from MIBR, but it was Redux who was the star player. He only got one pick in the end, but he wasted so much time towards admin, and Liquid from there really could not find a footing at all in that round, and pretty easy to shut it down there for the rest of the defense, still left standing. Upstairs though for round number 2 here. MIBR, how deep will they go in the strat book for this round? I haven't seen anything too wild thus far. I guess the Warden can be a little bit of a cheeky pick. No rotation actually from meeting in towards the long hallway either. No reinforcements on the con wall as well. Okay, so they're going to do it a bit late. Maybe it's just the line of sight. And there is a shield there, so you'd expect the rotation behind there, but outside of that, nothing too wild. No one holding yellow stairs. I think that's probably the most critical takeaway. Again, with that Wamai taken down, Jaeger really isn't going to be enough to hold that position. And in fact, MIBR have realized that and decided to not even bring him at all. So no projectile denial selected.
And for Team Liquid as well, back on day 1 of the group stage, they had a very strong attack against FaZe Clan and obliterated them. It was a 5-1 half on their attack. So MIBR do need to be careful of Team Liquid's attack. They know that, of course, from recency in that Copa Elite 6 Grand Final. And I think this might just honestly play into the hands of MIBR. As we're slowly going through round by round, we'll get those answers. It's a good start. It's the map pick for MIBR. They're on the defense, which statistically, as I pointed out before, pretty decent so far at 6 Invitational. And if Liquid's attack does get halted, we've seen they're vulnerable. I mean, Cyclops defeated them here on Consulate pretty comfortably. And Liquid's attack was honestly quite poor then, so this is very much a match for the taking here for MIBR. Liquid are going to have to buck the trend here, but Redux right in the face of Nesk. That Ash has not had any involvement on Consulate at all, guys. 0 and 2 to start the first 2 rounds.
And it's such a powerful position for Redux to hold. He has the wall opened on yellow stairs. He could prep a nitro cell and clear anyone that holds that position. Palu, aware, tries to play off that drone, doesn't know exactly where Redux has repositioned. He's over in towards Bathroom now, and with these mute jammers scattered around, actually locating where Redux is will be incredibly difficult for Team Liquid. They have a minute to go. They need to decide exactly what they're going to commit to. Some utilities still in sight, needs to be cleared. Moringa, I believe, would have cleared the Evil Eye with that. But Team Liquid at the moment struggling a little bit just to find their footing on Consulate. It's such a difficult map to get a footing at the best of times, but they will finally try and get that plant down.
Successful from Sexy Cake, able to get this plant down right in front of the window behind the desk in CEO, and that's going to be a quick double as well, so they can push in, they get complete control, and they've gotten the kills. How quickly things can just change though. We're sort of hyping up MIBR, they got the first pick, everything's looking great, but suddenly Liquid on the rappel game have been able to get not only back into this round, but now solidified their position. Philippe pops over towards front desk. Does get one back, but he's still got more to deal with. And over towards yellow stairs, PSK is waiting. Team Liquid, they're going to make this very much a struggle for both teams. It will be back and forth. It will be tight, and we will be seeing both coaches, I'm sure, yelling and making noises, although from Liquid's end, they have just calmed down a little bit, guys, in the external part of the game in terms of the trash talking. They've been a bit quiet recently.
Great work from Palu in that round, able to drop Redux, who I thought could have had a big impact in helping to deny that plant. Now, I'm not sure if MIBR didn't have the intel required to call for Redux to go for a nitro cell. Again, maybe Palu providing too much pressure, applying too much pressure to that position, but had Redux have been able to deny that, we could have seen quite a different round play out there for Team Liquid, but they did capitalize upon the opportunity that was gifted to them. They closed out the round. The rappel game so strong once you're able to get that kit dropped, able to get that kit planted. just so incredibly powerful. So many crossfires, of course, that can be denied. So good response there from Team Liquid. MIBR just need to tidy up a little bit there, particularly on their own on-site intel and being able to play off of it.
Yeah, and like Chalet, I think this is very much just going to be back and forth. I don't see either team really running away with it, although as I say it, I'm sure now it'll happen. But you can't really blame me for thinking that way off the back of how we saw Chalet really play out. The way that MIBR have started here on Consulate, they're looking good. Really good opening round. And for Team Liquid, I mean, you expect them to be able to fight back. You're not going to see them go out with a whimper. They've got a really solid attack on Consulate. We've seen that when they beat FaZe Clan earlier in the group stage. And a site like Lobby Press as well. I mean, do they maybe go for a rush here? We've seen it happen before a couple of times in the group stage from various teams. Just all about sort of how they want to decide this. Do they go for the rush or do they go for that top-down clear? Play a little bit slower in their approach.
Another pause in the action here for Team Liquid. It's a admin take by the looks of things, and the man himself, Reduct, looking to deny this entry for as long as possible. Playing the Jaeger on this occasion, not the Vigil, so Liquid should have less trouble in droning out this position and making sure that it's clear. I think that was one of the issues they were having last time. They just didn't quite know exactly where Reduct was, making it quite tricky. But on this occasion, I expect control to be taken swiftly. Nesk up front, getting up close and personal, creating a vertical line of sight with that breaching charge as well to cut off some of the rotations down below. And those rotations will be quite important if MIBR want to get back towards site.
We're going to take it off the board. There's one back though from Nesk. Again, not surprised to see both teams just trading early here. MIBR trying to, of course, really halt Liquid from getting a lot of ground early on, looking to peek, be aggressive, which is what you expect on a map like Consulate. Just make life difficult here for Team Liquid, especially getting this vert control above. Got a couple of members now down below, but still with a bit of presence above MIBR. Not going to give this up too easily. 4 versus 4. And losing Moringa probably a bigger deal than losing Reduct. That sledge not being able to open up floors and sight lines will backfire for Liquid, although Nesk over towards Long Desk is able to get Lukid and still just playing around these spiral stairs. A minute left in the round. Liquid with a very slight advantage. It's all about now the late game execution, which Liquid has probably still been slightly better at than MIBR over the course of these two maps.
Falls needs to be careful. He's going to be critical late round in trying to deny this plant. Still has one Evil Eye in the pocket, and as Jess mentioned in the pre-show for this second match, his utility usage has not been amazing, which could prove costly for MIBR late round here, particularly if there's not enough intel in towards site. There's plenty of plant denial though. C4 in the hands of Philippe Pox, and a couple of gas canisters for Raps over towards the front door. Liquid still needing to deal with this as they try and shape up for a front door execute. They may be forced to try and go for frags instead.
Final seconds left. Philippe Pox able to take out Nesk at the top of main stairs. That's a big pick. Palu low here, and so is Sexy Cake. So MIBR really starting to fight back, almost blindly in the dark. Raps is now able to push out into Anti and Palu. PSK down. Raps gets one back. Now it's a 1 versus 1, but time is of the essence. PSK has got none of it left. MIBR have just won the round in what was a dramatic fashion. Liquid once again timed their enemy, guys. We saw it over on Chalet, and it's backfired again.
Yeah, the time on these executes so far from Team Liquid has been really concerning. Like super late into the round almost on every occasion, and it's proving to be costly. In round 1, the execute came out with about 10 seconds to go. On that occasion, about 40. And if we look back at the stats for the other map, it rings true for the most part as well. So Team Liquid really struggling. That said, they've been compensated for that in the most part in being able to trade out picks. And that has been their strength so far. Their aggression has served them well. They've been sharp. And sometimes, you know, we harp on about teams being too slow, but if you can pull it off, and you're getting around wins, well, hey, it really doesn't matter. Prove us wrong. On that occasion, though, again, it's a risky player style. It doesn't pay off. 1 pick short in the end there from Team Liquid. MIBR doing a really good job in forcing their opposition back and playing as much map control as humanly possible on Consulate. Super difficult with the amount of rotations available. Not many, of course. That can be safe depending on how the attack plays it out. But it worked out for them on that occasion, and they'll head downstairs to try and extend this lead.
And we've actually got exactly the same scoreline that started out on Chalet, which was 2-1 in favor of MIBR. And it was around this point, guys, that we saw Team Liquid just get a couple of rounds back and get really the map back in control for them. Didn't end up, of course, working out by the very end of the entire map, but it did allow them to close out the first half in good fashion. They're going to have to do it again here, as MIBR are looking very solid. And they've already got that one map advantage. For those who have maybe only just tuned in, we played Chalet earlier. You can see it at the top of your screen. MIBR won it 8-7, went all 15 rounds, and it was the map pick of Team Liquid. This is MIBR's map pick in this best of 3, and they're off to a very good start right now.
It's Luca this time, playing on the Vigil. We know that Team Liquid are having trouble with their pacing, and we'll see if the Vigil on this occasion slows it down. With that scanner, of course, he can prevent himself from being spotted by attacking drones. Now, an indicator still gets let off, that sort of buzzing effect, if you would, but you can't exactly locate where he is positioned, and that effect does go through floors as well, making it even more challenging to locate his specific location. Team Liquid, though, looking to commit to a yellow take control of this said position. Nesk on the entry, on the Zofia, he could be deadly.
And Nesk in the opening 2 rounds, very quiet, but is now just starting to find a footing here for Team Liquid. That spells disaster for MIBR. If he can start to find some form in this match alongside Palu, Moringa, that's exactly how Liquid usually end up winning their matches, the big 3. Raps is playing very well at the moment for MIBR, 4-1-1 on the mute. Reduct as well has been very prevalent in finding these opening picks for MIBR. And they're able to play off of that with a solid advantage for the remainder of the rounds. Down to basement for this 4th round of the 2nd map. And as you said, Yellow Stairs the play here for Team Liquid. Palu able to get control of Piano and just also pretty much drone out to the rest of lobby and get full site control above for Team Liquid.
Roll above established. Sexy Cake looking to try and open the main breach. Reduct elsewhere takes a little bit of damage, I believe, from a frag grenade. That's what it sounded like. Sexy Cake, meanwhile, though, will finally commit to the breach. PSK finishing off that Malusi off screen. That would suggest that Team Liquid have good control above, but Luke Kidd, he is still roaming about. Ooh, that goes out, but he doesn't quite hit the shot. Raps, meanwhile, elsewhere finds a nitro cell. So Ping's coming out left front instead of frags as well. It's a 4 versus 4 with 25 seconds on the board, and Sexy Cake will go for a front white plant, I assume.
Falls still has a nitro cell, but he's pretty far back. So if Sexy Cake pushes into the front white, Falls is going to have to get there pretty quickly. He's actually going for Black Planet. Oh, the nitro cell does go out, does catch quite a lot of Sexy Cake. Not enough to get the elimination, and they are covering him as he has to stick this plant. Cannot get off of it. Falls will swing out. He should catch him as he stands up. Oh, he got off of it. Oh, that's not going to be enough time. MIBR should be able to win the round from here. And it all just capitulates in the end for Team Liquid. Guys, what happened?
It's another 1 versus 1 that goes the way of MIBR based on time. They are really, really struggling with their time management, and it's proving costly. Lucid was just running around the map, just having fun. Had the scanner activated for the majority of that as required, and he was just chilling on the top floor. He didn't really have to do a whole lot other than apply a little bit of perceived pressure and stay alive. A good game plan there from MIBR, directly countering the struggles that Team Liquid are experiencing.
That is a very happy man right now. I just want to embody the energy that Bodega is currently extruding. MIBR with a 3-1 start here on Consulate. And yeah, time. It's been the most we've talked about in terms of any topics has been time. And Team Liquid, most importantly, more so than MIBR, who have been a little bit better with it. Even they have, to their own credit, struggled with it on Chalet. But yeah, Team Liquid are just really getting these plants with like 10 seconds to go. They're losing players. It's just messy at times. And full credit to MIBR's defense. They're just a step ahead of the game. They've got 3 nitro cells, so they're always throwing those out. We saw Falls late in that round throw out that nitro cell. I think with like maybe 10 seconds left, guys, I want to say roughly about 10 seconds left. The fact that he even has that with 10 seconds left means that Team Liquid are going to struggle getting that plant down.
Team Liquid now will be tested on split. This is an objective that often can come down to the late round and will more often than not come down to the ability for the defense to deny plants with C4s. And as you can see, MIBR bringing 3 to the fray They know exactly what they're doing on this objective, and they will play into the hands of Team Liquid. Now, we'll have to see whether or not they are extending on the top floor. Often teams will decide to do so. A little bit tricky to tell so far. We'll find out quite quickly as our beautiful Obs Easy will suss it out for us on the overhead. And for the most part, it's pretty clear, but an interesting setup from Lucan. A shield over towards front desk has protection behind him with those reinforced walls, and he'll be looking to assist Raps, who's also executing a soft roam, trying to deny this rappel in.
Yeah, and I'm very curious to see how long Raps is going to not hold the area. As you said, it's a bit of a soft roam, but just keep an eye on that sort of admin side, especially because MIBR have employed a bit of that front desk hold. So they're really trying to withhold both sides of Consulate at the moment up on that second floor, denying Team Liquid as much vertical options as possible, which is, you can see Liquid mostly on the rappel game at the moment, so they are looking to take above, clear out these roamers, and then push down for this split hold. Raps is already on the move, trying to find an angle and catch someone, and that's what you like to see from MIBR guys. They are the ones who are setting the expectations here and dictating the tempo by trying to find these picks.
With Mozzie on the board, it is inherently difficult for the attack to gain intel, and Liquid will be mindful of that. Same breaching charge deployed here from Nesk. Nice verticality to cut off the rotation, but the rotation really already been made here by MIBR. Top floor forfeited, at least on the eastern side. Not sure if Lucan is still committing to the hold at Con. In fact, he is. Raps as well at Skinny. They're looking to get aggressive here. Falls as well, joins in on the fun, but Lucan is shut down.
Yeah, and that's a good pick from Nesk. Lucan and Raps were both just getting a little curious. Raps actually so much so that it just continued on anyway and did end up getting the pick onto Moringa. The sledge has been eliminated. 50 seconds left, and again it's a 4 versus 4. And full credit to Raps from not just falling back after Luca goes down. You could have easily just said, all right, time to fall back. But no, if you do that, Liquid's got the advantage for the remainder of the round. When they push onto site, they're going to be able to win the trades easier. Knows the situation. And then Felipox is able to get PSK as well. Oh, surely gets a second one. Palu has no idea. Walking around Visa. Oh, there's another one. Oh. What is going on, Liquid? Are you not paying attention? Nesk drops down, but the round is over. Caught napping. Liquid, wake up. This is a playoff matchup.
Again, great work from MIBR. They are wasting so much time off site. And once all their nitro cells were depleted and they knew that their ability to deny plant was compromised, they just backed themselves to end up winning ones, knowing that Liquid would be forced into late round drops, would be quite frantic. Perfectly played there in the end from MIBR. They are playing again into the hands of their opponent. They are reading in to their weaknesses at the moment. Felipox narrowly avoids, or narrowly misses, I guess, getting the 4K, I believe, in that round, but MIBR on another level. Liquid are really struggling at the moment. They need to speed up this early round.
Well, tactical timeout taken from Team Liquid. No surprises here. And the Team Liquid we saw over on Chalet, we were seeing Nesk obviously trying to trash talk, and the coach was trash talking, and everyone was extruding confidence and all the likes that you like to see. And now, as I said before, the whole camp, the coach, the players, just suddenly looking a little bit quiet. You know, a few shrugs of the shoulders. What's going on? What's happening? The coach is not happy. And suddenly Liquid are very much on the back foot here. They are under the pump heavily, big time. MIBR have stepped up their game, and Liquid have just not been able to match them.
And I mean, I'm no expert in body language by any stretch of the imagination. And I know like that LATAM can be super passionate. I mean, we saw it in map number 1, but this does not look overly positive. They need to be constructive here, maintain the mental, and actually focus on what is going wrong and how they're going to fix it. There's no point getting too worked up emotionally. Otherwise, that's going to overwhelm any ability to bounce back in this matchup. So hopefully their talks were constructive, at least to some degree. They have one more opportunity in this half to at least bring it back to a 2 versus 4, and it starts to look a little bit brighter for them. Keeping in mind that it's a 61. I'm looking at my stats. 61% defense rate here so far, I believe, in 6 Invitational for Consulate. So even if Liquid bring it back to a 2-on-4, it really doesn't look that bad.
No, certainly not. And it almost sort of mirrors the Chalet game a little bit, where Liquid, of course, went 4-2 in their attack, and we were like, okay, that's kind of expected. Maybe not for the LATAM region, but for pretty much everywhere else, and especially for SI. But here for Consulate and the way that we've seen it played so far at 6 Invitational, there hasn't been anything too out of the ordinary. Now, for Liquid, a 5-1 half is really not ideal. Regardless of what the stats say, guys, you throw those out the window, and that is a big hole to climb out of, especially the way that MIBR are playing right now. Now, if you do make it 4-2, though, then you can go back and look at the stats and say, actually, we're not too far away from where we really want to be. This is fine. We can come back. We go to defense in the second half, and Liquid can then start to look up, get a few round wins, and suddenly the game is back to a close affair. So for MIBR now, it's just all about capitalizing here and really just closing out this half in good fashion, extend this lead as much as possible, take that into the second half, and then look to close out not only the map, but the series.
Yeah, and I can only assume that that is why Team Liquid has elected to use their timeout before this round. They know it's quite important for setting themselves up in this map, and it's a map that's a must-win. If they lose this, they'll head down to the lower bracket. That's not the result that this team or either of these teams would wish upon themselves. It's an admin take again here for Team Liquid. MIBR have not been afraid to extend on this top floor, make life difficult. There's a reinforcement over towards the Visa stairs to make it a little bit trickier for Team Liquid to shut down the rotations. And there's a couple of players up above. And it's been difficult for Team Liquid to manage their time alongside managing the roam clear. But I'm keen to see just how long MIBR try and hold on to this top floor for.
And for Team Liquid, they have not adjusted their lineup at all. In all 6 rounds, they've had the exact same composition, not looking to mix it up, not looking to move away. Usually you would say not looking to move away from something that's working. Well, in this case, it's not really working. Although it's a pretty stock standard sort of lineup, I guess. You can't really sit back and say, who do you replace in terms of an operator? It just so happens that right now, MIBR defending pretty vigorously. That's taking out that ADS. They look to gain control of long desk. Minute and 5 seconds on the clock, guys, as MIBR, if they can get this round and they can stop Liquid's attack here, they are looking very, very good going into the second half.
6 drones already taken down by the defense as the trades come through. Liquid on top. But MIBR still have top floor control. Sexy Cake has the kit in hand. He'll likely be the planter, as he so often is, for this roster. But with this control above still prevalent, Team Liquid could find it tricky to get this kit down, but Nesk does drop falls. That was the player up above in Con, and now Raps is under the pump at front door. Lucid inside of Con will need to go big as well.
I just can't see how Raps and Lucid are going to be able to bring this one back. Sexy Cake should be able to just push him shortly. They actually don't have any smokes, by the way. Sexy Cake with the flashes instead, and well, it doesn't really matter because Liquid have just cleaned house. Raps' position is known, and Liquid will be able to close out the first half with a solid win, 2-4, and suddenly things, guys, don't look as bad as maybe they could have been. 5-1 would have been a big stretch. 2-4 on a defender-sided Consulate. It's a bit of a, okay, sigh of relief, breathe. Not sure exactly what Silence is saying, but definitely better body language than last time we saw him.
Yeah, for sure. You could see Team Liquid quite relieved. They knew that using their tactical timeout there was a bit of a calculated risk, and it works out in the end. Now, statistically, they find themselves in a good spot, and basically this match is pretty well neutralized at the moment. Again, 60%, or 61% rather, in favor of the defense so far at the 6 Invitational. The Team Liquid, despite being quite slow on those attacks, able to salvage something. They're in a good position now, and if they can do the same to their opponents, bleed the time of MIBR on their attacks, honestly, I'd probably have to back in Team Liquid a little bit more in the late round. We saw it on Chalet, their late round super duper strong. If they can back that up here on a Consulate defense, who knows what could happen. If Team Liquid manage to bring this back, then we might end up going all the way to Coast.
For MIBR, they've got the exact same lineup as Team Liquid were employing on their attacks. The only difference is the Zofia comes in and the Ana goes out. And the Warden for PSK going to be employed this round for Team Liquid's defense. They too are also going to bring out the Mozzie. No mute though. And a slightly different variation to what we have seen in the past, although maybe not too different. In fact, a very similar lineup to a formation that we saw from MIBR on one of their basement defenses, but obviously for CEO meeting. This time around, Team Liquid on the defense, and there's a little bit of momentum on their side now, off the back of the timeout, then the round win. Suddenly they've been able to reset things, and as you said, it's pretty neutral now with the scoreline where it's at.
MIBR were really good with their drones on Chalet, and you can see them already actively using them to clear out locations, and they're really doing a great job in hiding them in sneaky positions that were still able to yield a lot of intel for the team. And here's a common boost spot. Here's that one in rank. That was pretty dope.
Located.
You can see, of course, anti-chamber and circle desk. That's a common rotation for the defense to make, particularly if they want to try and deny entry. Nesk, though, he gets the first. It's Reduct taken down. It's an aggressive peek and it's an aggressive pick, but it's a good one for Liquid.
Located by attacker.
And that's what Liquid need to do now on their defense as well. Be aggressive, look to find these picks, get these opening kills. That's just the way you generally want to play Consulate at times. Now, Falls has had a bit of a fall inside. Will be eliminated by Palu, and this attack is just pretty much already finished for the most part. Diffuser on site, but none of the players are. And they can't even get into the site without being eliminated. This is flawless at the moment from Team Liquid. MIBR literally haven't put a foot in.
Concussion. Missed me?
Yep, Consulate sometimes is like that. Instead of defending the objective, you just defend the whole damn building and stop them from getting inside. Luca does eventually trade one back, and that's Palu off the board. He gets strewn forward by Felipox, but there is a Banshee to slow him down in his way. Basement default not taken down, but also not being watched there by Palu, who did just fall to the grave. And the one at Dungeon rather, also not being watched here. So Luca getting away for free here a little bit here. Team Liquid allowing that, but in the 2v4, you'd still have to back the defense.
Ooh, almost spotting ahead there. Should have probably picked up the kill. Swings out now from Lobby and able to get Nesk. Long way back though, but full credit to Luca for being able to push in. Didn't take out that default down in Dungeon, just to not give away any sort of information on his position. 30 seconds left in the round. Liquid right now just pretty much have to hold defensively here. They've got diffuse guys. There's not much that they really have to do. Just have to wait for Luca and Felipox to make their way towards the site and hope that they win their ones.
Banshee at the top of Visa stairs will allow PSK to swing, but PSK does not win the fight. Now keep in mind the diffuser is down inside of CEO, so it's still a difficult round for the attack as they try and enter in towards site. Luca left in the 1v4, makes his way down long over towards front, but he's taken down. Sexy Cake goes big at the end of that round, and Liquid will claim it.
Yeah, just got a little bit too close for comfort in the end. Had to try and get that 1v2. Didn't come off though. And Team Liquid get their second round win. Actually, no, their third round win in a row. Two. Okay, so never mind, two. So 2 round wins in a row off the back of their tactical timeout. Luca tried to make something happen over towards Lobby. Did get the kill, but then from that couldn't get much more. 3-4 suddenly. Now the scoreline, things looking a little bit better. It was 4-1 at one point. Of course, then we saw that tactical timeout from Liquid, and since then it has basically been all Team Liquid. A very good defense. We saw them get those kills early, guys. Made it very difficult for MIBR to get onto the site or to even just get onto the map, really. Let's be real. And that pretty much set the tone for the rest of the round that it was going to be a very difficult attacking round for MIBR. But the fact that they made it as close as it was towards the end, you got to give credit to MIBR in the end.
For sure. Liquid, though, they're going to head over towards Split. And one of the exciting things for me, at least personally in this round, is Palu playing on the mirror. A lot of different options that you could employ here. Mirror windows can be used down below to push back players from the west over towards Garage, or we may even see a cheeky mirror window up above to reinforce the admin position. Now, this is an operator that has seen a little bit of play for Team Liquid at the 6th Invitational. In fact, 20% of the rounds where mirror has not been banned, she has been played by Team Liquid with a 100% win rate, which bodes well for them as they try and get themselves back into this match.
Well, I don't think they're out of the match, right? So, like, to even say get back into it, I think they're already back into it. It's 3-4. They're on the defense here on Consulate. This is pretty much going as planned. The only thing that was a little surprising was when MIBR got out 4-1, and of course that forced that tack timeout. But everything else has pretty much gone to plan here on this map. And as I said, when we sort of started out on Consulate, I kind of expected it would be a bit of a mirror to what we saw in Chalet, back and forth, and both teams to go the distance. Like heavyweight boxers, they are going towards the late rounds as we get closer and closer towards the 10th round, and that's when we really will start to see who may edge out Consulate here. MIBR's attacks so far have been a bit hit and miss. Need to see them improve if they're going to find some rounds here.
Both mirror windows used down below, and that does make the life of the defenders on the top floor a little bit trickier inside of admin. It is Nesk and Sexy Cake looking to hold that position, hold down the fort. A lot of pressure being applied here from MIBR. Philippox is on the rappel. Lukid alongside Reduct in meeting, trying to pinch these positions out. Not sure if it has been droned ahead, but Philippox does get the first pick. Lukid narrowly misses the second. Needs to be mindful of the refrag here from that player in Nesk, who finds one over towards Princer. It's a C4 from Sexy Cake as well. It's a 3 versus 3. A lot going down. Still control has been forfeited, or has not been forfeited rather, by the defense. Sexy Cake, he's showing up big here in map number 2, Falls and Reduct, to try and bring this round back.
Well, showing up big, Nesk is 10-2-6, still has a Nitrocell in the back pocket as well, and may look to go big here for Team Liquid on the defense. MIBR's attack has faltered. I don't sense they're going to get back into it this time, but who knows? They are a mischievous team. Not going to happen. Good angles being held by Team Liquid. They continue to impress on the defense. MIBR's attacks just need to be improved a touch. At the moment, it's all Liquid.
All Liquid. A lot of chaos. They were thriving in that chaos in the last round. Sexy Cake was a little bit quiet on map number 1, but he's fighting himself into this matchup. Sneaky position late round in particular to close out the round for Liquid. And you can see that they are thrilled with that result. MIBR need to try and find themselves back into this matchup. They are struggling just to get inside the building. I mean, they got control of CEO, transferred that into meeting, and they were applying a bit of a pincer there on that admin position, but the rest of the players pincering that position, particularly on the rappels, were unable to have much of an impact, and Liquid from there thrived.
And I think for MIBR right now, it's almost like they've just got to take it one step at a time. Step 1, get into the building. Then step 2, clear out utility. Then step 3, win the gunfights. And, well, they're just struggling with step 1, which is get into the building without losing really any players. And that's really hindering these attacks, because then you're late into the round. It's like 2v3s with a slight advantage to Liquid, or 2v4, for instance, or 3v5s. They're just always constantly losing a player on these entries, and it's really quite detrimental to their attacks here on Consulate, where you're going to need all your players alive. You need to find some opening picks. And for Team Liquid, though, I mean, I just got to give them credit where credit is due. Looking much better on the defense. Both teams' defenses have been very, very solid. Their attacks, well, leaving a bit to be desired. That's fair to say. And Nesk is going big, 11-6 at the moment. Sexy Cake, as you mentioned, much better here on Consulate than he was on Chalet. And we are now tied 4-4.
Quick nade there from Lukid, and we may well see MIBR try and play really aggressively off this breach. It's popped open, but it won't be as aggressive as I maybe initially expected. Falls, though, will drone ahead and try and see what he can see. Side white clear, but there is still eyes probing on this location. PSK is holding it, and there are some pieces of utility as well. There is a Banshee that doesn't get cleared there, still standing. There's also one on top of the black car as well, so any entry inside the breach will be tough for MIBR.
Yeah, and while they've got a bit of control down below, they're also getting control of Piano as well. Sexy Cake just trying to prove to be
they're inside.
On the side of MIBR. They're inside, they got control. Didn't even need Piano in the end. Nets can't even win the fight over towards Yellow Stairs. Much better from MIBR right now. The rush has been perfected perfectly. The Nitrocell thrown out, but it's not even close to where Falls is actually planting this diffuser. Raps will take out Palu, and suddenly now down to a 1 versus 4 for Sexy Cake. Cannot do it all by himself. MIBR bounce back with a much needed round win here on their attack.
Well played there by MIBR. I thought that their intent was going to be quite aggressive. Then, in the face of those Banshees and a couple of players over towards Pipes, for example, watching the breach, I was like, oh, you know, maybe they'll reel it in a little bit. But no, they backed themselves despite being faced with that challenge. There was a player on the window rappel pressuring Sexy Cake, I believe, which made it really tough for the vertical hold to really pay off. Then the Nitro cells weren't hitting the mark either, and MIBR were able to really capitalize upon that. And once the diffuser is planted on that position, it's basically impossible to retake, particularly when you're at a man disadvantage. So really well played there by MIBR.
And I do have to say, I'm a little bit surprised to see the tactical timeout from MIBR off the back of that round win. I'm not entirely sure as to the reasons why. It was a pretty decent attack, good rush. They honestly perfected it pretty well. I wouldn't even be criticizing much because of the fact that they won it successfully. I mean, we did see the Banshee didn't quite get cleared that early. It doesn't matter. There's the little things that, while that could matter elsewhere, didn't matter this time. So obviously, Bodega has seen something that he wants to touch on for MIBR. Going into these, I guess, late rounds of the regulation time, right? They're up 5-4. They're very close to getting match point. It's like, okay, keep focused. Just have to get a couple of more, and how they can just perfect things to really finish off Team Liquid here.
I love Bodega. Just he's really leaning in there. You know, you can just sense the passion through the screen. I wish we were there in the room. Honestly, it's palpable from the other side of the world. So I can't imagine just how much the players are thriving off this at the moment. And they will be looking to just slowly keep extending this lead. If they get match point, they could close out this series 2-0, which would be such a huge result for them. MIBR, again, the last time these two played at the Copa Elite 6, Liquid won 2-1 in that best of 3. And we thought heading into this that we may well see a similar tale, especially considering that Liquid have not been pushovers in the group stage. Of course, neither of MIBR, but so far, MIBR are really playing well. Incredibly impressed with what we've been seeing so far. Sure, Liquid have had their issues, but the important thing is that MIBR are capitalizing upon mistakes and forcing mistakes. In every game of Siege, one team plays better than the other. It's as simple as that. And if MIBR can continue to... Exactly. If MIBR can keep capitalizing upon these mistakes, then they're going to find themselves in a really good position.
And you know, you touched on the Cobra Elite 6 and the last time these two teams played on Consulate. It was a 7-5 victory to Team Liquid, and right now MIBR already on 5 round wins. So Liquid will have to win the next 3 if they want a similar scoreline. They would be very much hoping for a similar scoreline now, because otherwise, as you said, it'll be 2-0 and the game will be done, and Liquid will then go down to the lower bracket. And that's a very long run from this point as well, Guts. Like, they will have to run the gauntlet to get to the grand final and to make it. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it's a long run that you really don't want to be a part of. It also means that if you can make the grand final at some point, then you're going up against a map disadvantage as well. So a lot on the line here for Team Liquid to just be falling over this easily. I expect them to continue to fight, especially on the defense for Consulate, and that's why I'm starting to think maybe that tactical timeout from Bodega and MIBR wasn't so bad. Keep the foot on the throat, couple of rounds to go, you're on the attack, you're not expected to win, but here's a few things that maybe we can do: fix up, clean up a little bit, move forward, get these last few rounds, and let's get out of here with a 2-0 victory.
Now, in the last 2 rounds, the opening pick did not necessarily translate to a round win, but it still does position you nicely. All the late round, particularly on Consulate, can get quite hectic and often relies on trades. MIBR with good control inside of admin, line of sight created over towards the stairs to shut down that rotation as well. Reduct is playing the Nomad, didn't get banned out, so expect him to place those air jabs around to ensure that MIBR do not get caught off guard. Good utility clearance as well here from Lucid, and that's a Banshee dealt with as well. So it's a strong foothold established here by MIBR. And with this line of sight in towards meeting as well, established by Falls, it only makes it stronger.
Yeah, and they're pretty decent on time as well. The one thing they're going to probably be wary of is any sort of flanks from Team Liquid coming late into the round. Fleetbox over on the rappel still. MIBR playing this well. Boy, he's so close to being able to just swing over and take out Moringa. He may look to do that. No, a bit of movement from Fleetbox means Moringa, of course, watching that window. But at the very least, it just means that Fleetbox is drawing the attention of Moringa away from the rest of this attacking MIBR, forcing him back a little bit too. This is a good attack from MIBR as Falls is now in. They can go for this plant, and if you can stick it, it'll be watching just on the side of the service stairs. And that toxic gas babe is off. Never mind. PSK is able to stop the plant, get the kill. User on the ground.
Big. Can they play off it though? Oh, Raps finishes that down. I believe it was a down. 4v4 now as he takes control of top spiral, trying to hold the cross here as they pick up that diffuser. Reduct tries to stick it back down. Raps needs to go big 11-5 thus far, but he gets taken down by Palu, leaving it in the 3-on-3. Smoke Canister doesn't quite hit the mark on that occasion, but Palu hits his. It's a 3-on-2. It's a retake here for Leapbox, and Lucid need to hold on.
Liquid are already on top of it as well. Luca just sitting in copy. Oh, nice pick. Moringa has no idea, and he's got the hole here, of course. Oh, the timing, though. Sexy Cake just gets off of it for a split second. He knows there's a player on the rappel, and he can't stop him. It's a tough shot. Bodega's happy. MIBR are happy. They've got match point against Team Liquid, and it goes beyond just that, Guz. It's also series point.
And why wouldn't you be happy? The recovery there to be able to pick that diffuser back down and stick it was immaculate. It was great denial there from Moringa. The first plant was unsuccessful and Falls was shut down, but they were able to get it back, and Palu fractionally too slow there to deny it. It was a good double in the end, but not quite enough there for his team. And Sexy Cake was always going to be tough to bring that one back, particularly with that player on the upside down. Rappel, MIBR, it's map point, it's series point, and they're looking seriously damn good.
And Liquid now are going to be tested mentally. Can they recover? They are on the defense for Consulate, guys. This is where we expect them to be able to get rounds, but MIBR, the momentum has very much reached full steam ahead. That tactical timeout was just perfectly timed, and since then, and even before then, they've been able to just look so much better in these attacking rounds, where at the start they looked a bit sloppy, they looked a bit messy, and they've just picked it up. They've gone to another level, and again, Liquid just not able to match them. They're going to have to, though. They've got no choice. They're going to win this. They have to win the next 2 rounds. Otherwise, the series is over.
10 seconds left before
The lobby defense here for Team Liquid. Actually, it's downstairs, rather. The outlines perceive me. Keep in mind, last time MIBR approached this objective, they basically popped the breach open, got rid of a little bit of utility that was in their way, and then got that plant down. The wild card, though, on this occasion for the attack is Reduct, playing on the Amaru. Maybe I'll look to establish early map control here, getting nice and early over towards admin, for example, and try and play off that.
Flipox has gone massive for MIBR. 14, 2 and 7. Raps as well, over from Chalet, translating good form over to Consulate as well, 11, 2 and 6. But where's Palu? Where's Moringa? Liquid need these players to stand up. We need to see more from them. Neska's done his part for the most part, 11, 2 and 8, but it's all MIBR in every fashion. Even the player picks as Neska's gone. Obliterated by Reduct and MIBR. Man advantage off the back of this opening pick. That might be GG. Long way to go in this round, and Liquid certainly capable of bringing it back, but they need to find a pick.
MIBR playing perfectly into that Wamai ban with Jaeger only up. Holding yellow stairs is tough. Sexy Cake is looking to even out 4 on 4, and he gets the pick. Reduct asleep outside the front door is put well and truly to bed, tucked away for the rest of this round. Raps now outside. Is he expecting Sexy Cake to peek again? Surely not. He's backing himself over towards front door. Sexy Cake for the swing. Gonna hit the shot. He does, but it's not quite enough. Raps! What is that? Even he doesn't believe it. And now MIBR have the man advantage.
No way. What a shot. The wall bang through the desk and lobby. And that is now man advantage to MIBR once again. The exothermic charge to open up the garage doors. 1 minute on the clock. And it's go time for MIBR to seal the fate of Team Liquid and condemn them down to the lower bracket. And for MIBR, they can extend their fortunes here in the upper bracket just a little bit longer. 40 seconds left to make something happen.
MIBR doing such a good job in clearing out this utility. They've spotted the shield, they take care of that. They spotted the Banshees, they take care of those as well. And now it'll be up to the likes of Palu to try and retake above and go for something huge. He shouldn't be allowed to with the Nova on the board, and we'll see what he can get done.
Plant is just about down. Never mind. Gets stopped. Moringa with a double. I asked him to step up, and he's done just that with 3 massive kills from Moringa. Over at White Van, 14 seconds left. Diffuser on the ground. Lucan comes now from yellow stairs. Just randomly sprays over towards the back of White Van. And he just doesn't have the time. Has to go for the kill. Moringa just has to hold one angle only. Gives away his position. He gets the kill. He gets the quad. And a sigh of relief for the Team Liquid side of things. 5-6, and it's still match point for MIBR, but they get one more round in this match.
I bite my tongue. The Nomad was not selected there. A slip of the words from me, but it didn't really have much of an impact there. Liquid able to find the picks on site, leaving it in the one-on-one. There's been so many of those 1-versus-1 engagements in this matchup thus far, and Liquid able to hold on. Oh, just when you thought MIBR were going to take it, Liquid, they step up. 5-6 is the scoreline. Console and meeting will be the objective. Liquid 6 picking onto the dock in this round. I wonder if Nest can do something nasty in this round.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Yeah, well, Team Liquid are going to need any sort of advantages that they can get early on in these rounds. And look, what a match again between these two teams. It would almost feel sad if it were to end right here, right now, with a 7-5 victory to MIBR off the back of that 15-round banger on Chalet. This one, of course, going the distance in terms of regulation time with what is the final round of regulation. It either goes to overtime or we go nowhere else. If anything, we'll go to a break because MIBR would be winning. For those who have maybe only just tuned in, Liquid, of course, now this is upper bracket. They will not be eliminated. They will only drop down to the lower bracket. So it's not do or die, but it's still, you know, you want to win. You want to stay in the upper bracket. So you kind of want to get back into this one as quick as possible. They're on the defense. What can they do?
Now the loser of this matchup will take on, if I am correct, G2 Esports and Parabellum. So I'll have to wait and see, of course, how that matchup shapes up and talk about shaping up. MIBR over towards yellow, looking to try and clear this position. Again, no Wamai on the board. With the Aruni and the Jaeger, sure, that is quite a bit of projectile denial, but I assume it probably won't be enough. Sexy Cake takes that Q to run back. No one holding the CEO repel, and he can make his way all the way towards meeting. And as you can see, all that utility being dumped in towards that yellow stairs position. Lines of sight created by Falls as well. And if had Sexy Cake have stayed in that spot, he probably would have gotten melted.
You mentioned who they'll play if they lose. The winner of this match will go and play the winner of Empire and Oxygen. So that's going to be a fascinating match to watch, whoever it is, whether it's MIBR or Liquid. 2 minutes on the clock. This final round of regulation. DO meeting is the site to be played here for Team Liquid. Palu just hanging out down below. Just being a nuisance over towards Piano. Luke, just seeing that glass break, of course, you've got to always be wary of any sort of peaks or even jump outs, really, if you want to go too crazy. There is one from Sexy Cake. He goes back in, just checking that balcony.
Importantly for Sexy Cake, jumping out there might have an impact later in the round. Unlikely, but at least he has burnt that air jab essentially and doesn't get punished for that. So not a bad little play there from Sexy Cake. All focus though now on Falls. He is alongside Philippe Pox on the rappel. He's looking to get himself in towards the objective and try and get this plant down. Sexy Cake still thinking about an aggressive run out down below. Lucid rather, does hear that. Ready and waiting. Still 10 players alive. The execute yet to come through here by Liquid. If MIBR win this round, they win the series. They progress further in to the upper bracket. But can they try and get this diffuser down?
Alu, the one shot, thought maybe he'd spray and be able to find a butt cheek or two. Falls is in, he's going to go get this plant. No, it's denied. Palu from below with the nitrocell, but he was immediately retraded by Reduct as the trades do start to ring out around the map. MIBR slightly in front, 4 versus 3. Philippe Pox will repel in, will get onto that diffuser. Raps will get the big pick onto PSK, the one they needed. Liquid just falling by the wayside. It's only Nesk left in a 1v4 here. Shut down. Liquid will drop to the lower bracket. MIBR will move on 2-0. What a series from MIBR.